subscribe, like the video, and, if possible, join Patreon. But if you don't have much money, you can support the channel by watching the novels on euroaudiobooks.com. Remember that you can participate in the polls so that your favorite novel gets published for free.
The opponent this crypt demon spider encountered was Soul Saint Flanders, whose soul power was as high as level 78. Seeing that he was trapped in it, Flanders immediately showed his strong side, and a layer of light yellow halo was released from his cat eagle body. Then, the light spread instantly, and the spider web cage had already turned into powder with a bang. After spreading his wings and flying directly into the air, Flanders would never give the crypt spider a second chance to plot. He once again turned into a huge owl and descended from the sky. His eagle claws quickly rushed towards the crypt spider. Finally, the sharp eagle claws completely grasped the body of the crypt spider. Flanders, who transformed into an owl, flapped his wings and took the crypt spider to the sky. The sharp claws had already penetrated into the body of the crypt spider, and the blood drop after drop fell from the sky, accompanied by bursts of spider screams. Seeing that Flanders, who had transformed into an owl, had captured the crypt spider, everyone flew to the ground. Throwing the unconscious crypt demon spider aside, Flanders deactivated the martial soul's true form, walked in front of everyone, looked at Tang San and said, "Okay, Xiao San, go kill it. Mubai has already obtained the 4th soul ring. And after you have absorbed this soul ring, we will rush back to the academy and seize the time to adapt to the new soul skills and teamwork." "Okay." After answering, Tang Sen touched Xiao Wu's head and said with a smile, "Xiao Wu, don't worry, I will definitely be able to absorb it successfully." After saying that, Tang Sen activated his purple demon eyes and shot out the 8 spider spears from his back. He walked up to the crypt demon spider and stabbed down with 8 spider legs at the same time. Phew! Blood splashed in response, and 7 seconds after the tip of the 8 spider spear penetrated the body of the crypt demon spider, the crypt demon spider was killed. Xiao Wu said that the soul was shaken, and the solution Tang San came up with was to use his purple demon eyes to suddenly shock the opponent's spirit before the crypt demon spider was about to die, causing its resentment to dissipate in the moment before it died. As a result, the soul vibration in the subconscious will naturally disappear, and it will become much easier to absorb the soul ring. A faint black light began to be released from the crypt demon spider, condensing into a black 10,000-year soul ring in the air. Tang Sen walked to the crypt demon spider and sat down, sorry to trouble everyone. Lu Erlong, Yu Xiaojing, Dai Mubai, and others all nodded to Tang San. Flanders waved his hand. Ma Hongjun, Dai Mubai, and others surrounded Tang San in the center, guarding him carefully. With their protection, and Flanders and Lu Erlong by his side, Tang San no longer needed to worry about the threats posed to him by other spirit beasts, and was finally able to wholeheartedly absorb the 10,000-year spirit ring in front of him. Raising his right hand, the blue light brought by the blue-silver grass spirit slowly appeared in Tang San's palm. Taking a deep breath, Tang San summoned the spirit ring of the crypt demon spider. The black light of the soul ring seemed to have finally found an opening to vent after waiting for a long time. As soon as it felt Tang San's blue-silver grass martial spirit, it suddenly swarmed in Tang San's direction like an ocean embracing all rivers. Seeing the rich black light instantly enveloping Tang San's body, Flanders couldn't help but be surprised. Such a strong wave of soul power, Xiao Jiang, can Xiao San really successfully absorb the 10,000-year soul ring? Seeing such a huge amount of soul ring energy seeping into Tang San's body, Yu Xiaojiang's face was filled with sadness. He was convinced that his theory was correct. At the same time, he was afraid that some accident would happen, such as Xiao Wu said. The soul was shaken. If something really happened, not only would such an outstanding apprentice be killed, but he would also be trapped in a situation beyond redemption. You know, Tang San's father is Tang Hao. If Tang San really exploded and died, Tang Hao would never forgive Yu Xiaojiang. Yu Xiaojiang's death would probably be even worse than Tang San's. Thinking of all the possible consequences, Yu Xiaojiang regretted a little. He really shouldn't have encouraged Tang San to become a practitioner of his theory. Now that the 10,000-year soul ring has been integrated into Tang San's body, it was useless to say more. You can only hope that your theory is right. Yu Xiaojing is also convinced that his theory is right, because when Tang San obtained the first soul ring, he helped him verify his martial soul mimicry theory. Plant martial souls can absorb the soul rings produced by animal soul beasts. This is completely established. This time, the theory of leapfrogging soul rings will definitely be established. Dai Mubai, Xiao Wu, and others all looked at Tang San worriedly. The fourth soul ring absorbed Wan Yin's. Because of the precedent of Lu Bao, everyone had hope for Tang San. Their third child was a miracle. The creator of Tang San, who was involved in the process of leapfrogging and absorbing the fourth 10,000-year soul ring, felt it even more intensely. He felt a huge flow of heat suddenly pouring into his body. Before he could react, the heat flow started like a scalding flame, burning his body. The tyranny of the crypt demon spider determines that the spirit ring it forms is extremely violent. As soon as the powerful aura enters Tang San's body, it begins to transform his body. Even though the resentment in the soul ring had been forcibly erased by the purple demon eye and was unable to cause soul shock to Tang San, the energy of the 10,000-year soul ring that filled his body was beyond Tang San's control at all. Under the powerful fluctuations of soul power, Tang San felt as if his body was about to explode, and the severe pain caused him to spit out a mouthful of blood. Everyone around him was shocked at the same time. They had all absorbed soul rings before, but this was the first time they encountered such a situation. In panic, everyone's eyes couldn't help but turn to Yu Xiaojing. Yu Xiaojing's face was already a little dark, and his hands on his back were shaking, but his eyes were extremely determined that his theory was correct, and that his disciple Tang San would create miracles and become the second person with 10,000 years power. The existence of the fourth soul ring. Master, third brother, you won't have any accidents, right? Ning Rongrong comforted Xiao Wu and asked, why did he vomit blood? Yu Xiaojing tried his best to suppress the uneasiness in his heart and said calmly, the spirit ring energy of this underground demon spider is too overbearing, and it is not easy to absorb it. Now I can only rely on Xiaosan himself. Absorbing the spirit ring cannot use any external force. Otherwise, it will only have the opposite effect. Now we can only believe that Xiaosan can insist on taking it for his own use. The terrifying and domineering spirit ring energy was still forcibly circulating within his body. Tang San discovered that even if the purple demon eye suppressed the so-called soul shock, the spirit ring energy that instantly filled his body was like shackles, directly blocking his body. The internal organs, the 8 extraordinary meridians, and the 8 meridians did not give him a chance to use his soul power or activate the mysterious heaven technique. Oops. Tang San could feel that a certain organ in his body had been crushed by the energy of the 10,000-year soul ring. Various organs were dysfunctional, and uncontrollable soul power was churning in his body, causing him to spit out a mouthful of blood again, which was scattered on the ground. There were a few pieces of meat in the blood. Oscar was shocked when he saw this scene. He pointed at the blood spurted out by Tang San and said with a trembling voice, no, it's not good. Xiaosan's internal organs seemed to be damaged. Well, there were fragments in the blood. Pieces of flesh. Brother. After shouting, Xiao was about to burst into tears and was about to pounce on Tang San, but was pulled back by Ning Rongrong. Oscar made recovery sausages, thinking of restoring Tang San's strength or treating his injuries. Seeing this, Flanders warned again. Oscar, stop. You cannot use any external force to absorb the soul ring. Otherwise, it will only have the opposite effect. We can only believe in Xiaosan now. Everyone should be calm, believe in the master's theory, and believe in Tang the potential of 3. At this time, Tang San was still suffering from the destruction of his body by the energy of the 10,000-year soul ring. He didn't know where his internal organs were damaged. The 8 extraordinary meridians and soul power were just like when Douluo captured him. The power is blocked and unable to function, and the Xintian technique cannot be used. Fortunately, he has 3 soul bones, the right arm bone, the right leg bone, and the 8 spider spears with attached soul bones. Chapter 134. Tang San's blue-silver grass spirit exploded. 3 soul bones appeared at the same time, and Tang San could finally control his body immediately circulate his soul power and perform Shintian technique. Shintian Gong has been cultivated to the 3rd level, and it already has the magical effect of maintaining health. It can automatically restore the energy, blood, and spiritual awareness in the body without any further stimulation from him. Enduring the endless tearing pain, Tang San felt that his chance was coming. Since he could resist the impact of the 10,000-year spirit ring energy, he could subdue it. With his soul power running, Tang San forced the soul ring energy that filled his whole body into his right arm bone and right leg bone. These 2 soul bones are both 10,000-year soul bones that are over 50,000 years old. They should be able to bear the 10,000-year soul for him. The pressure of ring energy. But when Tang San forced the excess spirit ring energy in his body into his right arm bone, there was no situation where the spirit bone could bear the spirit ring energy instead of the spirit master himself, as Yu Xiaojing said. The energy of the 10,000-year soul ring did not enter the soul bone. Instead, it pushed the soul power of the soul ring energy into the soul bone, causing the skills attached to the right arm bone and right leg bone to be activated at the same time. Tang San was a little panicked. He began to feel that his teacher's theory was wrong. The energy of the 10,000-year spirit ring could not be forced into the soul bone at all, because the 10,000-year spirit ring had not been absorbed by his body. Energy that did not belong to him naturally could not inject it into his soul bone. By the way, the 8 spider spears with external soul bones can evolve as the soul master grows. Maybe the 8 spider spears can bear the excess soul ring energy for me. Thinking of this, Tang San immediately activated his soul power and pushed all the soul ring energy into the 8 spider soul bones behind him. To Tang San's surprise, it was really successful. The energy of the 10,000-year spirit ring could be injected into the 8 spider spears with attached spirit bones. As the 8 spider spears bear more soul ring energy for Tang San, the backlash of the soul ring energy on Tang San's body becomes lighter. His panicked heart finally calmed down, and Tang San continued to send the energy that his body couldn't bear to the 8 spider spears. At this time, Yu Xiaojing and others saw that in addition to the original 3 yellow, and purple soul rings, the blue-silver grass martial spirit floating on the heart of Tang San's right hand also had a black soul ring, which was the crypt. The demon spider's 10,000-year soul ring. Successful, Ma Hongjun exclaimed, and everyone's tense bodies suddenly relaxed, and indescribable joy arose in their hearts. Xiao Gang, Tang San succeeded. Your theory of leapfrogging soul ring absorption is right. Lu Erlong's eyes were filled with tears. What a great discovery, Xiao Gang. Your theory will change the entire soul master boundary. Looking at the 4 yellow, purple, and black soul rings flashing in Tang San's hand, Yu Xiaojing's eyes were filled with emotion. Yes, he was an invincible master of theory, because under his theoretical guidance, the useless martial soul Lan Yinxiao, soul master, successfully transcended the level and absorbed the 4th soul ring of 10,000 years. Just when everyone thought Tang San had finished absorbing the spirit ring, a strange scene appeared. The 8 spider spears behind Tang San suddenly expanded. Because they had endured too much 10,000-year spirit ring energy for Tang San, the 8 spider spears lacked storage space and continued to expand and grow like an inflated ball. As for this scene, only Yu Xiaojing and others who were watching saw it. Tang San was completely unconscious, and he still forcefully channeled the excess spirit ring energy in his body to the 8 spider spears behind him. If the 8 spider spears had soul bones attached to them 10,000 years ago, they might be able to withstand the energy generated by the 10,000-year soul ring for Tang San. But now the 8 spider spears are only 2,000 years old. How could they withstand so much energy? 10,000 years soul ring energy? Suddenly, the 8 spider spears expanded like a puncture balloon. With a muffled bang, they exploded and shattered. An extremely destructive energy turned into ripples and washed away in all directions. The terrifying explosive force blasted a deep blood mark on Tang San's back. Due to the backlash of the explosive force, Tang San, who was sitting cross-legged on the ground, was blown away. Blood spurted out from the mouth again, and a piece of flesh and blood spurted out directly. One of the kidneys in his body was destroyed. The soul ring energy exploded into pieces. When Tang San fell to the ground, his whole body was in a sluggish state, covered in blood, and the endless pain of broken bones and cracked skin tortured his thoughts. He finally discovered that due to forcing too much 10,000-year soul ring energy into the 8 spider soul bones, the 8 spider soul bones completely exploded. The scattered spider leg fragments on the ground were exactly the shattered 8 spider soul bones. Unlike the previous 8 spider soul bone spear tip that was shattered, this time the entire 8 spider soul bone was shattered, and the attached soul bone was lost forever. No, this is not true. Tang San staggered to his feet, his purple demon eyes looking at the fragments of the 8 spider soul bones on the ground. His eyes began to tremble. At this time, the pain of regret for losing the 8 spider soul bones was stronger than the pain of his flesh and blood. But what caused Tang San more pain was far more than that. With the physique of an ordinary spirit master, he could leapfrog and absorb the 4th 10,000-year spirit ring. How could the retribution he suffered be so simple? Tang San saw that the blue and silver grass martial spirit suspended in his right hand had 4 yellow, purple, and black soul rings flashing. But the next moment, the black soul rings disappeared, followed by the blue and silver grass martial spirit. Shock! After the 8 spider spears were shattered, Tang San had no external object capable of storing the energy of the 10,000-year spirit ring, causing all the chaotic spirit ring energy in his body to be sent to the blue-silver grass martial spirit. Continuously enduring the invasion of spirit ring energy, the blue-silver grass martial spirit in Tang San's right hand expanded and grew like the 8 spider spirit bones. Having learned from the past, Tang San was afraid. If his blue-silver grass spirit exploded like the 8 spider spirit bones just now, wouldn't all his previous achievements be wasted? Martial spirit explosion? Tang San had never experienced this feeling, and he didn't want to experience it. In desperation, Xian Tian Kung immediately activated to protect himself, and all his soul power was poured into the blue-silver grass spirit to enhance its toughness. No. Tang San kept praying in his heart that he could get it again after the external soul bone exploded. But if the martial soul exploded, it would really be gone, and there would be unknown dangers. The right hand holding the blue-silver grass spirit turned into Xianyu. Tang San urged the Xian Tian Kung to circulate around his body. The blue-silver grass spirit in Xianyu's hand was still expanding and getting bigger. Squeezed by the energy of the 10,000-year soul ring, long one of the leaves of the silver grass has cracks. If the spirit that was undergoing the energy transformation of the 10,000-year spirit ring at this moment was the clear sky hammer instead of the blue-silver grass, maybe Tang San might still have a chance of success. It's a pity that his blue-silver grass martial spirit has the blood of the blue-silver emperor, but it has not awakened. The unawakened blue-silver grass is just an ordinary weed. It is impossible for such a low-quality martial spirit to withstand the transformation of the energy of the 10,000-year soul ring. This is simply impossible. Just when Tang San tried his best to suppress the extremely violent 10,000-year soul ring energy in his body, there was another explosion. The blue-silver grass spirit exploded in Tang San's right hand, and the terrifying destructive energy formed ripples in all directions. Tang San was blown dozens of meters away, followed by a brutal scream. The blue-silver grass martial spirit couldn't withstand the transformation brought about by the energy of the 10,000-year spirit ring and exploded. The moment he was blown away by the blue-silver grass martial spirit, Tang San felt extremely regretful. He shouldn't be this practitioner. Could it be that his teacher's theory of leapfrogging soul ring absorption was wrong? Chapter 135 Shadow Explosion. Dark Demon Tiger on the mainland. Many soul masters have had their spirits broken. Generally speaking, if the martial spirit is broken, the soul master will not die. The broken martial spirit will recondensate and return to its original state after a period of time, and no real damage will occur. However, what happened to Tang San was rather special. His blue-silver grass martial spirit was not shattered. Instead, it was completely shattered from the inside out by the energy of the soul ring. This was a fundamental destruction. He had lost this martial soul forever. Soul masters who want to transcend levels and absorb soul rings will bear such risks. At the moment when the blue-silver grass spirit exploded, Tang San saved his life because of the Xintian Kung body protection. His right hand was protected from the pain of broken arm by the 60,000-year-old right arm bone and Xian Jade hand. But his right hand had been blown into pieces. Seriously injured, the skin, flesh, and meridians on the hand are messed up, and the bones can be vaguely seen. He could no longer use Xuanyu hand, and at the same time, the injury to his arm also left him with many sequelae. Tang San's body outside was covered in blood, his skin and flesh were torn, and his inside was even more miserable. One of his kidneys was crushed by the energy of the 10,000-year spirit ring, and other internal organs were also affected to a greater or lesser degree. Even if they were not completely shattered, they were left behind. Hidden wounds everywhere. This time, Tang San experienced what despair was. What he despaired about was that after the explosion of the blue silvergrass spirit, all his hard work in the past 8 years was in vain. He could not use the black jade hand with his right hand, nor could he accurately release hidden weapons. In the future, he wanted to making sophisticated concealed weapons can probably only be done with one hand. What made Tang San even more desperate was that he had already questioned the theory of his mentor, Yu Xiaojing. Fortunately, he has the protection of his twin martial souls and Xintian Kung, so that he can avoid the danger of death due to explosion and can safely preserve his body. If it were any other soul master, he would have died a long time ago. Is this mentor helping me or harming me? Tormented by endless regret and pain, Tang San's consciousness gradually blurred. Although the explosion of the blue-silver grass spirit did not have a fatal impact on his body, his mental state was obviously affected by the destructive energy and had become somewhat abnormal. Perhaps this insanity will leave a legacy like his badly injured right hand. There was a pop. Tang San, who was blown away by the blue-silver grass martial spirit, fell to the ground with a sound, his torn body covered in blood, and his consciousness completely passed out. Seeing this scene, everyone in Shrek fell into silence. Yu Xiaojing knelt on the ground as if he had lost his soul, his eyes full of confusion and fear. He hated himself for harming his apprentice, and was also afraid of Tang Hao's revenge. Ning Rongrong, Dai Mubai, and others had not yet recovered from their panic. Only Xiao Wu's heart-rending screams echoed in the air. Brother, the ghost soldiers lurking on the surface monitored the whereabouts of Yu Xiaojing and Tang San. Because last time he learned that Tang San believed in Yu Xiaojing's soul ring leapfrog absorption theory, Lu Haoli was very curious about whether Tang San could rely on it. The powerful protagonist's aura successfully absorbed the fourth soul ring of 10,000 years. The result was as expected. Tang San failed, and the price he paid was losing his blue-silver grass martial spirit and his healthy body. From the vision shared by the ghost soldiers, Lu Haoli could clearly see that the destructive energy impact produced when the blue-silver grass spirit exploded was no less powerful than some powerful soul skill. It still makes sense for Tang San to skip a level and absorb the 10,000-year spirit ring this time, because the explosion of the blue-silver grass spirit allowed Lu Haoli to comprehend a new skill. If the extremely huge dark energy and the ultimate ice and fire energy are mixed and then compressed together into the body of the ghost soldier, the ghost soldier will become a human bomb. When the mixed energy compressed in the body is released, the instantaneous expansion of energy will explode the ghost soldier's body, resulting in a big explosion, forming an extremely terrifying destructive energy impact. The ghost soldiers have the consciousness of autonomous action, which means that the ghost soldiers who become suicide bombers will find a target according to orders or by themselves, and will immediately self-destruct once they seize the target. If the target escapes, the ghost soldiers will chase it, which is like a missile with tracking function. In the future, if flying shadow groups are built with the ability to fly and turn into suicide bombs, they will become real missiles. With the current strength, the explosive impact generated by a ghost soldier may not be able to harm the Soul Saint strongman in the true form of the martial soul. But what if a dense number of ghost soldiers surround the enemy and then self-destruct together? Or the ghost soldiers lurk on the ground in the form of black shadows to form mines. Once someone accidentally steps on the black shadow, they will detonate themselves. Thinking of this, Lu Hao couldn't help but feel a little horrified, because if he was unprepared to withstand the impact of the destructive energy produced by the ghost soldier's self-destruction, he would end up like Tang San and be left paralyzed, or even have his body blown to pieces. What's more, the ghost soldiers can emerge from the enemy's shadow and cause surprise attacks, which makes it even more difficult to guard against. This skill that turns the ghost soldier into a human bomb is called Shadow Stream Secret. The art of the super ghost soldier is explosion. Lu Haoli immediately rejected the name and thought, let's call it Shadow Explosion. Aliong, Lingling has finished absorbing the soul ring. Duguian's voice suddenly said. Lu Bao looked at Yi Lingling, who nodded slightly to him. Seeing the vague atmosphere of ambiguity when the two looked at each other, Duguian's bad temper rose again. Lu Baoyan, didn't you say you were already level 60? Do you want to hunt the soul beast? If so, let's stay in the Sunset Forest for a while. Of course I need to hunt soul beasts, but not in the Sunset Forest. As he said that, Lu Baoai looked at Shigao and said, Teacher Shi, I won't bother you with my 6th soul ring. During this time, I will solve it yourself. You want to ask my grandpa to help you? Duguian asked. Lu Baolon smiled and shook his head, thinking that 3 months ago, he had sent countless ghost soldiers to search for traces of the dark demon evil tiger near the Star Do Forest. As of today, he finally had good news. The habitat of the dark demon evil god tiger has been found in a gloomy valley 20 kilometers away from the Star Forest. The next thing to do is to ask Qian Rinxue to seek help from the Enshrinement Hall and send 2 titled Douluo above level 96 to help hunt down the dark demon evil god tiger. Through the vision and senses shared by the ghost soldiers, Lu Baobai could clearly see the appearance of the dark evil god tiger and could also feel the darkness and evil aura it released. This is a super soul beast with the blood of the evil god, a special existence that possesses the 6 attributes of darkness: evil, wind, thunder, time, and space. Needless to say, the dark and evil attributes are natural. With the increase of these 2 attributes, the dark and evil attributes of the shadow spirit will definitely be closer to the ultimate attributes. If he could obtain the spatial attributes of the dark demon evil god tiger, he might be able to freely travel through the world of shadows like the Mirror Shadow Dragon Soul Master of the Mirror Squadron before. The Shadow Tomb domain itself contains a space like the Dark World. If the Shadow Spirit has spatial attributes, will the Dark World in the Shadow Tomb domain change? Lu Baoli had a feeling that absorbing the soul ring of the Dark Devil God Tiger might lead to the 3rd awakening of the Shadow Martial Spirit, just like taking the star Anise Ice Grass and fiery apricot Jiaoshu. The next day, Tiando City, Shrek Academy. Inside the room, Tang Sen was lying on the bed, still unconscious. At this time, his upper body was naked, revealing his broken body. Skipping the level and absorbing the 10,000-year spirit ring caused Tang San's blue-silver grass, martial spirit, and body to suffer varying degrees of destruction. Fortunately, there is a female student named Jiangzhu in Shrek Academy. The Wuhuan Healing Scepter can help Tang San repair some skin injuries and restore his vitality. In order to save Tang San, Ning Rongrong ate the flying mushroom sausage made by Oscar and rushed back to the Cabello Glaze sect overnight to seek help from her father Ning Fengji. Ning Fengji's Cabello Glaze Pagoda martial spirit not only has auxiliary skills that increase physical attributes, but also has healing capabilities. Although the healing effect is not as good as the Jiuxin Haidang martial spirit, with the blessing of Ning Fengji's 79th level soul power, it can still have an effect. To a certain extent, it has the effect of bringing the dead back to life. After learning about Tang San's accident, Ning Fengji and Gu Rong followed Ning Rongrong to Shrek Academy. Beside the bed, Ning Fengji's 7 soul rings flickered, and the 7-story pagoda in his hand slowly floated to the sky above Tang San. The 7 soul skill, the 7 treasures true body was used. The Cabello Glaze Pagoda martial spirit released 7-color divine light, and the light penetrated into Tang San's body like wisps of colorful smoke, performing various treatments on him. First of all, Tang San's weak vitality was constantly recovering under the nourishment of the 7-colored light. The shredded flesh and skin of his right hand that was injured by the blue-silver grass spirit was also being repaired quickly, and the external injuries were quickly healed. Under the continuous treatment of Cabello, Glazed Pagoda, some of the damaged organs in Tang San's body were also recovering. Unfortunately, one of the kidneys was too damaged and could not be restored. There was no way to fully recover from the injury to his right hand, leaving sequelae. Tang San's right hand would always be in a state of twitching and trembling. For a long time, treatment is over. Ning Fengji took back the 7 treasures Glazed Pagoda and looked at Tang San's recovery, but he shook his head with regret. As early as at the Tiando auction house, Ning Fengji got to know Tang San and purchased a large number of hidden weapons from Tang San. It was also at that time that Ning Fengji learned from Tai Tan, the leader of the Li clan, that Tang San was a twin martial soul, the son of Hao Qianluo. A young man with such a talent encountered an accident. His martial soul was shattered, his body was disabled, and his mental state was also affected by the shattered martial soul. Thinking of this, Ning Fengji couldn't help but feel a pang of regret. Last time he and Gu Rong saw Tang San's father, Tang Hao, having his hands and feet cut off by Dugabo. Today, Tang San was also disabled. Could it be that this father and son had done something evil? God wants to punish them severely? Dad, how is third brother? Ning Rongrong asked for Xiaowu. Ning Fengji's regretful expression returned to his previous calmness, and he said truthfully, I don't have to worry about my life. I can resume normal activities after a few days of rest. However, Tang San's internal organs have suffered from hidden injuries. This kind of internal injury cannot be healed and will cause him problems in the future. It's going to have a big impact. Fortunately, Tang San still has a second martial soul, and the soul power in his body is still at level 40. He still has the possibility of becoming a soul master. Speaking of this, Ning Fengji said curiously, you dare to leapfrog and absorb the 4th soul ring of 10,000 years. Rong, who is your third brother bewitched by? Chapter 136 Tang Hao comes to seek revenge on Yu Xiaojing, Rong, who asked Tang San to absorb the 4th 10,000-year spirit ring. Ning Fengji said, no soul master is stupid enough to risk his life for a spirit ring. Tang San took the risk of leapfrogging to absorb the 10,000-year spirit ring. Could it be that you were bewitched by someone? After hearing this, Flanders on the side rolled his eyes, lowered his head, and did not answer. Lu Erlong didn't speak either. Qin Ming, Zhao Wuji, Li Yusong, and other teachers were all confused. They still didn't know why Tang San couldn't think of absorbing a 10,000-year soul ring. Was he too greedy? Yu Xiaojing fell into silence, his head lowered with a look of guilty conscience. He was really embarrassed to admit that Tang San was bewitched by him. No, it wasn't to confuse him. He just wanted Tang San to help him verify his theory, but he didn't expect such a serious thing to happen. Yu Xiaojing was evading responsibility in his heart. He was comforting himself. Maybe he shouldn't let Tang San help him become this practitioner. After all, how could a useless martial spirit blue-silver grass with such low quality endure the 10,000-year 4th spirit ring? Energy transformation? Therefore, at that time, Yu Xiaojing gave priority to finding Dai Mubai to be his practitioner. With the quality of the evil-eyed white tiger spirit, he would be able to perfectly verify his soul ring leapfrog absorption theory. Unfortunately, Dai Mubai was unwilling and later decided to let Tang San give it a try. If such an accident occurs, it cannot be entirely due to problems with one's own theory. The main reason is that the quality of the blue-silver grass spirit is too low. While comforting himself, the voice of condemnation in Yu Xiaojing's heart slowly disappeared. Even if Flanders and others glanced at him intentionally, he turned a blind eye, said nothing, and did not dare to admit it. Seeing that Yu Xiaojing was not going to tell everyone the truth, Flanders sighed secretly. Xiaojing, why do you always like to escape and don't dare to face it? Flanders, who was part of the Golden Triangle, also liked Lu Erlong. He knew that when faced with Lu Erlong's feelings, Yu Xiaojing also avoided responsibility in the same way, and finally abandoned Lu Erlong and disappeared. Now, I'm afraid Yu Xiaojing is going to repeat his old tricks. Seeing that no one wanted to answer, Ning Fengji reminded him seriously, forget it. Rong, your third brother is so outstanding, but even so he still failed. With the lessons learned from the past, you must not try it. leapfrog, and absorb high-end soul rings. I know, Dad. Ning Rongrong glanced at Tang San, who was lying on the bed. The vivid example was right in front of her. How could she dare to try it? The elite competition is coming soon. I hope Tang San can recover quickly. Rongrong, Dad will be attending the competition as a guest then. You should work hard and let Dad see the results of your training in the past 2 years. After that, Ning Fingji left with Gu Rong. Xiao Wu suppressed her fear of Gu Rong, a titled Douluo, and said gratefully, Sect Master Ning, thank you for saving my brother. Hearing Xiao Wu's voice, Ning Fingji subconsciously made eye contact with Gu Rong. As early as when she met Tang San at the Tiando auction house, Sword Do Luo Qinshin, who was accompanying her, told Ning Fingji that this name the girl named Xiao Wu is not human. Now the ancient Banyan Bone Douluo has once again confirmed that Xiao Wu is indeed not a human being, and that she was actually transformed into a 100,000-year-old soul beast. From her eyes, Gu Rong could see what Ning Fingji wanted to express. Don't touch Xiao Wu yet, just keep an eye on her secretly. After all, she is Rongrong's good friend. The eye contact between the two was very vague, and their understanding of each other was only for a moment. Soon, Ning Fingji's eyes changed back to the gentleness before, and she smiled lightly at Xiao Wu and said, You're welcome. Tang San is Rongrong, his friend, and the hidden weapons he made are very useful to our sect, so I treat him today as a reward. Uncle Bones, let's go. Hearing what Ning Fingji said, the malice toward Xiao Wu disappeared from Gu Rong's eyes, and a black whirlpool opened up in front. The two stepped into the whirlpool and disappeared into the room. Ning Rongrong comforted him. Xiao Wu, my father said that third brother is fine, so he will be fine. Don't you still believe in my father's ability? Xiao Wu nodded, with a thoughtful light in her eyes. She was worried about Tang San, and at the same time, she was also worried about herself. First he met Poison Douluo, then Sword Douluo, and now Bone Douluo. I am afraid that his true identity as a soul beast has been exposed, and these 3 titled Douluo may have been eyeing him. Looking at Tang San lying unconscious on the bed, Xiao Wu sighed helplessly. Brother, should I leave? It is safest to return to De Ming Er Ming. But now that you are so hurt, how can I bear to leave you? Zhao Wuji, Qin Ming, and others still didn't know the reason for Tang San's transcendence of levels and absorbed the soul ring. When they asked Flanders and Lu Erlong, they avoided answering. As Yu Xiaozhang's close friends, Flanders and Lu Erlong both hated Yu Xiaozhang's evading responsibility and cowardly behavior. Yu Xiaozhang had no face to tell everyone the truth, and they had no intention of confessing. Reluctantly, Zhao Wuji and Qin Ming had no choice but to leave the room and return to the classroom to teach the students. Dai Mubai and Ma Hongjun went to the playground for actual combat training to help Dai Mubai test the effects of his newly acquired fourth soul ring skill. In the room, Xiao Wu was left alone to take care of Tang San. Time gradually passed by minute. It was night in a blink of an eye. In the dead of night, the entire Shrek Academy was completely quiet. Yu Xiaozhang returned to his room and sat at his desk in a depressed mood, flipping through books. He still couldn't believe that Tang San caused the blue-silver grass spirit to explode because of his theory. When he took Tang San to the soul-hunting forest to obtain the first spirit ring, Tang San clearly helped him verify that the spirit mimicry theory was true, but why did the spirit ring leapfrog absorption theory fail this time? It must be that the quality of the blue-silver grass martial soul is too low, so it cannot withstand the transformation of the energy of the High Life Soul Ring. Yu Xiaozhang could only use this explanation to clarify himself. Tang San's failure this time was not because there was a problem with his theory, but because the blue-silver grass spirit was not suitable to be the practical object of this theory. Mixed with emotions of reflection and self-blame, Yu Xiaozhang was very panicked. When he insisted on accepting Tang San as his disciple, Tang Hao agreed and gave Tang San to his care and guidance. But now, because of his theoretical guidance, as a result, Tang San's blue-silver grass martial spirit had an accident. If Tang Hao knew about this, he would definitely die without a burial place. Yu Xiaozhang didn't dare to confess to everyone because he was afraid that the news would leak out and Tang Hao would find out. At the same time, he didn't want to endure the cynicism of others. His theory had harmed his apprentice. If the whole continent knew about it, how would he lose face? At this time, Yu Xiaojing only had one idea in his mind, which was to escape from Shrek Academy in the dead of night, just like when he faced the relationship between Bibi Dong and Lu Erlong. He chose to escape and ignore it. Everything will be fine in a new environment. Anyway, I'm over 50 and don't have many years to live, so I might as well escape to a place where no one can find me, give up my obsession with proving the 10 core theories, and enjoy my old age in peace. Master. Just when Yu Xiaojing decided to pack his luggage and leave Shrek Academy, a sudden voice made his face freeze instantly. At this time, Yu Xiaojing did not feel that there was anyone around him, and the voice pierced directly into his ears, making it sound like he was talking in his ears. In other words, this is a voice coming from the depths of the soul, and it seems that only he can hear it. Who? Standing up suddenly, Yu Xiaojing was very flustered. He had heard from Flanders that when Tang San first entered school, Zhao Wuji bullied Tang San with his itchy hands, and Tang Hao came to his door in the middle of the night. Could it be such a coincidence that Tang Hao returned to Tang San and discovered that it was himself that caused Tang San to lose the blue-silver grass spirit? Thinking of this, Yu Xiaojing shuddered. His mood at this moment was just like when he saw Tang San's blue-silver grass martial spirit explode, and his heart was full of fear and confusion. Come out. A faint aura locked on his body. No matter how weak Yu Xiaojing was, he could still feel that the owner of this voice and aura was definitely a top powerhouse, except for Tang San's father Tang Hao. Which other powerful person comes to Shrek Academy? Yu Xiaojing hated himself for being indecisive. Even if he wanted to escape from Shrek Academy at this time, it was impossible to do so. At the moment, he could only follow the guidance of this voice, walk out of the room, and rush towards a small forest outside Shrek Academy. If he explained to Tang Hao honestly, maybe he wouldn't have to die. After all, teaching Tang San for 8 years was hard work without credit. Because of their experience, both Flanders and Lu Erlong knew that when they couldn't bear the excitement of something, Yu Xiaojing would always choose to escape. Therefore, the two of them had been hiding in the dark to prevent Yu Xiaojing from escaping. This time, Flanders and Lu Erlong were determined that no matter what, they would never let Yu Xiaojing evade responsibility. Harm him. Flender and Lu Erlong did not directly stop Yu Xiaojing at the entrance of the college. They found that Yu Xiaojing was not trying to escape, but more like he was being instructed to walk in a certain direction. Boss Fu, where is Xiaojing going? Lu Erlong was puzzled. Flanders shook his head. I don't know either. Let's go and follow him first. The three of us are finally reunited. Are you willing to let him escape again? Walk. Wait a minute. Call Zhao Wuji. I have a hunch that the person who will meet us later will probably be that gentleman. If he really comes, a battle will be inevitable. There is Zhao Wuji, plus the three of us with the martial soul fusion skills of a human being. I might be able to resist a little bit. After listening to Flanders' words, Lu Erlong suddenly realized, could it be that Xiaojing was going to meet Tang San's father? Taking Zhao Wuji with him, Lu Erlong and Flender walked forward together, quietly following Yu Xiaojing until they reached the forest at the back of the college. Walking deep into the forest, Yu Xiaojing put his hands behind his back, tried his best to suppress the fear and anxiety in his heart, and pretended to be profound and shouted, "Come out. I know you are here." A black figure slowly walked out from behind a big tree. This person's whole body was covered in black clothes, and he even had a black hood on his head. From the appearance, it can only be seen that he is a tall man. Seeing this man in black, Yu Xiaojing's pretended calm expression turned pale in horror. The fear and nervousness in his heart were clearly revealed in his eyes, and his pupils couldn't help but tremble. He guessed right, the person who asked him to come out was, as expected, it was his idol Tang Hao. No, Tang Hao is no longer his idol now. Tang Sen was killed, and his spirit was broken. As a father, Tang Hao is here to ask for an explanation. Master, do you still remember how you promised me when I entrusted Tang San and the Pope's decree to you? As he spoke, Tang Hao took off his hat, his somewhat weathered face full of anger, and said coldly, "You said that a teacher is like a father, and you will treat Tang San like your own son. You also said, I will train Tang San with all my heart to become a peerless genius. That's why I agreed to let you be Tang San's teacher and leave him to you with confidence. But what about you? Use him to test your so-called theory, not to mention mutilating his body, but also destroying his martial spirit. I should have let you remember. Tang San is my son. That's how you'll help me take care of him? Or are you being instructed by the Blue Lightning Tyrant Dragon sect and intending to destroy his martial spirit? Tang Hao's words, highlighted by his strong soul power and cold murderous intent, were like thunder falling from the sky, scaring Yu Xiaozhang's back to the point where his clothes were completely soaked. Everyone is afraid of death, and Yu Xiaozhang is no exception, especially for a person like him who chooses to escape from any unbearable stimulation. When facing death, his cowardice is revealed without reservation. No, Your Majesty Hao Yin, this is not my fault. There was a young man who could absorb the fourth soul ring of 10,000 years before. There is no problem with my theory. It is that Xiao San's blue-silver grass belongs to the useless martial soul, and the quality of the martial soul is too high. Low, unable to withstand the energy transformation of the 10,000-year spirit ring, which is why such an accident happened. I didn't frame Tang San on purpose. I never thought of harming him. What did you say? You said Tang San's blue-silver grass was a useless martial spirit. Tang Hao's face became even more furious. He grabbed Yu Xiaozhang's neck with his big hands and lifted him up directly. With murderous intent hidden in his eyes, he said indifferently, "Master, do you know what kind of talent Tang San is? He is me the only hope, but you asked him to test your bullshit theory, causing his body to become disabled and even his martial spirit to be useless. You are such a good teacher." While listening to Tang Hao's scolding, Yu Xiaozhang struggled to break away from the big hand that was strangling his neck. He wanted to speak, but could not speak. He was almost on the verge of dying. You crippled my son's talent and ruined Hao Yin's sect's peerless genius. I should have killed you, but out of your 8 years of education to Tang San, I won't kill you. You crippled my son's talent. The martial spirit makes him disabled. Then I will also destroy your martial spirit, and then dig out your kidneys. Master, you have to feel what it feels like when the martial spirit is broken and all the internal organs are broken. The taste of. At this moment, a cry came from the distance. Your Majesty Hao Yin, stop, will update tomorrow evening too. Chapter 137, Clear Sky Hammer versus Golden Holy Dragon. Your Majesty Hao Yin, please stop. The sound came from far away, and in a series of flashes of figures, Flanders, Lu Erlong, and Zhao Wuji appeared in front of Tang Hao. Your Majesty, you have really misunderstood the master, Flanders said urgently. Seeing that the people were Flanders and Zhao Wuji, Tang Hao's big hands were still pinching Yu Xiaozhang's neck. He did not directly answer Flanders' words and asked, "Misunderstanding? Flanders, Zhao Wuji, I also asked you before. You guys, let Yu Shrek take good care of Tang San. Yu Xiaozhang has no experience in absorbing the 10,000-year soul ring. Do you not have it either? The energy and resentment contained in the 10,000-year soul ring cannot be endured by a soul master of." Zhao Wuji moved his steps away from Flanders and said in a clear tone, "Your Majesty Hao Yin, I was not there at the time, and I followed you without knowing what was going on. In short, Tang San's matter has nothing to do with me." Flanders glanced at Zhao Wuji, then looked at Tang Hao, explaining, "We once persuaded Tang San, but he insisted on becoming a practitioner of the master theory. He said that he had twin martial souls and 3 soul bones. So he thinks he can successfully absorb the 10,000-year spirit ring. You also know that Tang San is more stubborn than anyone else in private. How can we possibly persuade him? Just like we are now persuading you not to kill the master. Can I persuade you?" Tang Hao sneered. "I could see clearly at that time. Flanders, it was you who hunted that 10,000-year-old soul beast for Tang San." "Yes, it's me," Flanders said anxiously and wisely. "Hao Tianmian, since you were observing secretly at that time, why didn't you come out to stop Tang San?" Tang Hao didn't reply. He pinched Yu Xiaozhang's neck harder and harder, looking at Flanders indifferently. Seeing that his words left Tang Hao speechless, Flanders was secretly happy and continued, "Your Majesty, if my guess is correct, when the master took Tang San to the soul-hunting forest to obtain the first soul ring, you should also be secretly protecting Tang San, right? At that time, Tang San was willing to become a practitioner of the master's theory, but the theory was verified by Tang San. So you didn't come out to blame the master. This time, you also expected Tang San to succeed in the theory of absorbing soul rings by leapfrogging. So, you decided not to stop Tang San from absorbing the 10,000-year spirit ring. But unexpectedly, Tang San failed, causing the spirit to be broken. Since you were also present at that time, are you also responsible? Besides, the theory needs to be verified by people. So what is the difference between success and success? Whether or not it is unknown, how can you put all the responsibility on the master? Tang Hao stared at Yu Xiaojing indifferently and pinched his neck hard. Yu Xiaojing felt that he was about to suffocate, and his face turned pale and veins bulged on his forehead. Flanders, do you really think I'm deaf? Tang Hao said sternly. Theory does come with wrong and right. But the master said that he was absolutely sure of his theory, and he only needed someone to help verify it. So, Tang San just decided to be this practitioner. If he guarantees that his theory is correct, he has to take full responsibility. Having said this, Tang Hao threw Yu Xiaojing towards Flanders. Flanders took Yu Xiaojing's hand, and Lu Erlong quickly supported him, using his soul power to help him calm down his almost dying breath. For the sake of your kindness to Tang San, Tang Hao said indifferently, Flanders, I'll give you a chance. Don't you call yourself the Golden Iron Triangle? Let the three of you come together. I don't need the martial arts to be real. If you beat me, I will spare the master's life. If you lose, I will destroy his spirit and body. You have only two choices. Either accept this opportunity, or I will ignore Tang San's friendship with you. Kill you all. As he spoke, Tang Hao looked at Zhao Wuji, who was standing aside, and said in a cold voice, Zhao Wuji, you'd better not interfere, or I'll beat you up as well. Your Majesty Hao Yin, please forgive me. I will never interfere in this matter. After saying that, Zhao Wuji immediately retreated 100 meters away, obviously not planning to care about Yu Xiaojing anymore. Xiaogang, are you okay? Lu Erlong asked. Protected by the soul power of his two companions at the same time, Yu Xiaojing was finally able to move his body easily. His pale face was still full of fear, and he nodded awkwardly. Now is not the time to escape. Xiaojing, because of you, I even offended Hao Yin Douluo, Flanders said with resentment. If you continue to be such a coward, I will never care about you again. You, Lu Erlong comforted him. Xiaogang, you have to believe in the combined strength of the three of us. Apart from accepting this opportunity, we have no way to protect you. Hearing the encouragement from his two companions, Yu Xiaojing's inner fear finally calmed down a little. He glanced at his two companions and then looked at Tang Hao. He understood that Tang San, a genius with twin martial souls, would lose one martial soul. It is equivalent to wasting most of the talent. No matter what he explains, he cannot absolve himself of his sins. Even if he escapes to the ends of the earth, he will be killed by Tang Hao. Now Tang Haoyan is giving him a chance to live for taking care of and guiding Tang San for many years. This is already the greatest forgiveness. In order to survive, in order to protect his Luo Sanpao, who was also a useless martial spirit like the Lan Yinxiao martial spirit, Yu Xiaojing no longer showed confusion and cowardice. And when he met Flandre Lu Erlong's eyes, they both saw that the determination in each other's eyes. Okay, Your Majesty Hao Yin, we accept this opportunity. If we lose, you can kill or chop him up. But if you lose, I hope you can spare Tang San's life because of the many years the master has taught him. His martial spirit, Luo Sanpao, is already useless. It doesn't make much difference whether you can destroy his martial spirit or not. Flanders, Yu Xiaojing was about to say something, but was interrupted by Flanders. Stop talking nonsense, Xiaojing, go to the back. Lu Erlong pulled Yu Xiaojing behind him, and at the same time, took a step diagonally forward of Flanders. Suddenly, the three formed a triangle formation. The sun and the moon shine in golden circles. Flanders shouted. He did not release his martial spirit. A strong golden light suddenly burst out from him. The golden light was not directed towards Tang Hao, but rose into the sky. At the same time, it also spread from under his feet. The same golden light also appeared on the master and Lu Erlong respectively. Golden light filled the air and instantly formed a golden triangle with the three people as the apex. The innermost part of the triangle is a golden halo surrounded by various complex patterns, like a golden triangular magic circle. At this time, the three Flanders bodies were covered with a layer of shining gold. Flanders and Lu Haoli closed their eyes, but the light in the master's eyes became obviously brighter, staring at Tang Hao like two sharp swords. When he traveled to the mainland, Tang Hao had met the Golden Iron Triangle several times. They were both soul masters at the same time, so naturally he had heard that the Golden Iron Triangle had a special soul fusion skill. Once this trinity of fusion skills is activated, it can exponentially enhance the strength of the three of them. At that time, the Golden Triangle became famous on the mainland based on this move. The golden light became more and more dazzling, and with the three Flanders as the apex, a strong triangular light pillar rose into the sky. Yu Xiaojing no longer showed cowardice. His eyes were bright, and he raised his right hand towards the center of the golden triangle formed by the three of them. Luo Sanpao, accompanied by Yu Xiaojing's low roar that sounded like a dragon's roar. A beast spirit that looked like a pig and a dog escaped out of the air. It was none other than the spirit of Luo Sanpao, the malignant mutation of the blue electric Tyrannosaurus Rex. After Luo Sanpao appeared, his chubby body fell into the ring pattern in the center of the golden triangle array. In an instant, the three people in the golden iron triangle had their own soul rings emerging from their bodies at the same time. Yu Xiaojing had 2, and Flanders and Lu Haoli had 7. A total of 16 soul rings floated out from their bodies and flew towards Luo Sanpao in the center of the golden halo. Seeing this scene, the ghost soldiers lurking on the surface to monitor Yu Xiaojing and others couldn't help but be startled, and immediately sent the news back to Lu Bao's brain. The martial soul fusion skills performed with the body were more powerful than ordinary martial soul fusion skills. Powerful. This gave Lu Bao a new understanding of martial soul fusion skills. In the future, he might also be able to develop a trinity of martial soul fusion skills. A total of 16 halos from the three Flanders fell on Luo Sanpao at the same time. Luo Sanpao, who looked like a pig and a dead dog before, withstood the fusion of 16 spirit rings. His chubby body was covered with a layer of golden light. He looked up to the sky and let out a strong dragon roar. Immediately afterwards, Luo Sanpao's body began to expand violently and slowly rose with the light released from the golden triangle. In the flash of golden light, Luo Sanpao, who looked harmless to humans and animals, suddenly transformed into a 20-meter large golden holy dragon, looking bright and majestic. The pressure coming from the golden triangular light pillar increased sharply. Zhao Wuji looked at the golden holy dragon suspended in midair, and his expression suddenly changed. The expression on Tang Hao's face also changed. Half a year ago, he went to seek revenge on Douluo, but unexpectedly, Douluo used some kind of medicine to enhance the snake venom, causing him to be defeated. After being harmed by Douluo's snake venom, every part of Tang Hao's blood and flesh was filled with countless toxins. Even with the recovery ability of the Blue-Silver Emperor's right leg bone, he could not completely clean out the toxins from his body. Although Tang Hao is so energetic at the moment, in fact, he has been suffering from all kinds of diseases for a long time. He just used his huge soul power to suppress the outbreak of various toxins in his body. He looks like a normal person, but as long as an expert who understands poisons, he will be able to see it at a glance. See Tang Hao's reality. Facing the martial soul fusion skills of Flanders and the others, Tang Hao was glad that they were not Douluo. As long as their opponents were not strong men who used poison, they could fight with confidence. A black light condensed in Tang Hao's palm and turned into a heavy one. At the same time, 9 soul rings unfolded at his feet. 2 yellow, 2 purple for black, and 1 red. With the appearance of the 100,000-year-old red soul ring, Tang Hao's killing god domain also activated. The body is soaked in various toxins. Once the soul power is concentrated frequently, the toxins will attack the temptation. Therefore, Tang Hao wants to make a quick decision. After dealing with Yu Xiaojing's matter, he takes Tang San and leaves Shrek Academy for a while. Personally guided him to practice the clear sky hammer. The golden light released by the golden holy dragon was instantly overwhelmed by the murderous aura of the killing god's realm, and the originally magnificent forest illusion returned to night. The moment the killing god domain was enveloped, Zhao Wuji, who was watching the battle from a distance, discovered that Tang Hao's entire aura had completely changed, and he was full of murderous aura, showing no signs of anger. Is this the realm that only the god of death deserves? Flanders and the other three almost sighed inwardly. Before Tang Hao released the realm of the god of killing, they thought that the three people's martial soul fusion skills were enough to defeat those without martial arts. Tang Hao's true soul. But when the killing god realm appeared, a few drops of sweat broke out on Flanders' face. If it wasn't to protect his good brother, how could he dare to offend Haotian Douluo? Boss Fu, cheer up! Lu Erlong shouted, instantly waking up Flanders, who was in panic. Shaking his head, Flanders' eagle eyes became a little more determined. He is the eldest brother of the Golden Iron Triangle. If his brother is in trouble, he must stand up. Xiao Gang, come on, dash! After shouting, Flanders and Lu Erlong closed their eyes and handed over the command of the Golden Holy Dragon to Yu Xiaojiang. In order to survive, Yu Xiaojiang was no longer confused and stood behind Flanders and Lu Erlong to command the Golden Holy Dragon floating in the sky to fight. The huge Golden Dragon suddenly opened its mouth, looked up to the sky, and let out a roaring dragon roar. Its Golden Dragon eyes locked on Tang Hao's position and turned into a golden lightning and rushed over. Tang Hao did not dodge or dodge. He did not use the martial spirit avatar according to the regulations. Instead, he used the first few soul skills to increase his power attributes. The God of Death domain, which covered 100 meters in radius, suddenly shrank in the clear sky hammer. This was an evolutionary skill developed by Tang Hao for the God of Death domain. The clear sky hammer continued to expand in Tang Hao's right hand like an inflatable ball. The power increase of the three soul skills made the clear sky hammer's destructive power reach the extreme. With the blessing of the killing god domain, it made it indestructible. Seeing the Golden Holy Dragon flying towards me, it sprayed out a golden breath. Tang Hao did not retreat, but moved closer. Every time he took a step forward, the clear sky hammer held tightly in his right hand would expand twice as much, until the golden breath came to him. Tang Hao didn't even need to move. The torso bone skill released an invisible shield to protect his whole body. The golden breath hit the invisible protective shield, branched towards both sides of Tang Hao in an instant, and finally turned into a golden explosion. It looked like Tang Hao had dispersed the golden breath with just his breath. Seeing that the Golden Holy Dragon's strongest breath was easily shattered, Yu Xiaojiang panicked a little. He knew clearly that this move combined Flanders, Lu Erlong, and his own soul rings. A total of 10. The attack formed by the fusion of the energy of the 6 soul rings was actually broken through by Tang Hao without any effort. This Haotian Douluo was really as impressive as before. The second after the golden breath exploded on Tang Hao's invisible protective shield, Tang Hao had disappeared from the place and teleported to high altitude with the use of soulbone skills. The most powerful attack method of the clear sky hammer is to attack from the sky, using the potential of missing to enhance the attack, and being condescending in the air can better lock the attack range. Yu Xiaojiang still had some sense of fighting and immediately looked up to the sky to look for the enemy. With his eyes fixed on the sky above the Golden Holy Dragon, Yu Xiaojiang was delighted. As expected, Tang Hao took advantage of the golden breath to escape into the air just now. However, Yu Xiaojiang's expression suddenly became panicked, because standing in the sky above Tang Hao was a nearly 100-meter large clear sky hammer. The 9 soul rings lit up at the same time, and an illusory red figure appeared behind Tang Hao. He did not use Haotian's avatar. This red shadow was just the murderous aura. It was the true form of the God of Death. The huge black clear sky hammer in the sky suddenly bloomed. Strong black light surged, and the aura of killing came overwhelmingly. The huge black clear sky hammer faced the wind and turned into 100 meters away. The huge hammerhead is like a hill. Red lines emerged from the huge clear sky hammer. The 6th soul ring on Tang Hao's body suddenly lit up, and the black giant hammer that exploded down suddenly turned into 6 stars. The 6 huge clear sky hammers merged into one when they failed, once again amplifying the power of the clear sky hammer 6 times, and the killing energy had already locked onto the huge golden holy dragon. There is one more update to be posted later. I was busy today and didn't have time to type. I only started writing when I returned to the dormitory in the evening. Chapter 138, Yu Xiaozhang's Luo Sanpao martial spirit exploded boom 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 in an instant. Tang Hao's excessive release of soul power triggered a poisonous backlash in his body. Fortunately, he had a head soul bone to enhance his mental strength and perseverance, and he was able to endure the torment of the poisonous backlash and swing the hammer. The huge clear sky hammer was just a blow. The golden holy dragon in the air was blown to pieces with one strike. The terrifying destructive energy exploded and turned into a powerful wind that swept through the entire forest. There were aftershocks in the air. Where the golden holy dragon was, the ground was dented several meters deep by the soul power, stirred up by the clear sky hammer. The moment the golden holy dragon was smashed, the martial soul fusion skills of Flanders, Yu Xiaozhang, and Lu Erlong were forcibly released. The three of them suffered backlash at the same time and spit out a mouthful of blood. Under the impact of the terrifying energy ripples, Flender and Lu Erlong were blown dozens of meters away and stopped after hitting a tree. Yu Xiaozhang's strength is relatively weak, and the body of the martial soul fusion skill is his martial soul Luo Sanpao. So when the golden holy dragon explodes, the backlash he endures is far greater than that of Flanders and Lu Erlong. Yu Xiaozhang's already weak soul power and body were simply not enough to withstand the impact of the destructive energy. Several of his ribs were broken. His whole body was swollen due to the squeeze of the destructive energy, and his 7 orifices were bleeding. Yu Xiaozhang was blown 100 meters away by the energy ripples, and his body smashed into 5 big trees one after another before hitting the ground. After rolling a few times, Yu Xiaozhang lay face up on the ground. His whole body was swollen, and his face covered with blood scars was somewhat unrecognizable, accompanied by severe tinnitus. Some branches pierced his arms or other parts of his body. The man looked like he had been blown up by a bomb and was covered in bruises. If it were normal times, if Yu Xiaozhang was so seriously injured, he would definitely lie down and wait for rescue. But this time it was different. He was fighting with an all-or-nothing mentality. It would be fine if he defeated Tang Hao, but if he didn't win, then his Luo Sanpao martial spirit would be like Tang San's blue-silver grass martial spirit. The same was abolished. No, it's not that I crippled Tang San's martial spirit. There's no problem with my theory. It's that the blue-silver grass itself is too fragile, so it can't withstand the transformation of the 10,000-year spirit ring energy. Yu Xiaozhang firmly believed that if the person who verified the soul ring leapfrog absorption theory for him at that time was Dai Mubai or Ma Hongjun, it must be true. While looking back on the past, Yu Xiaozhang regretted very much. Why did he choose to accept Tang San, a blue-silver grass spirit master, as his disciple? Knowing that he is the son of Hao Qiando, you still dare to encourage him to verify the theory you have concluded? Enduring all the pain on his body, Yu Xiaozhang climbed up with difficulty, clutching his chest. Several ribs were broken, and his hands and feet were affected by the destructive energy and became abnormal. The mentality of self-blame and the voice of self-condemnation. Under the stimulation of complex emotions, Yu Xiaozhang once again fell into confusion and fear, which reminded him of the time when he faced the relationship between Bibi Dong and Lu Erlong. At that time, being forced by the former Pope Qian Xuanji, Yu Xiaozhang could not accept such stimulation, so he chose to leave Bibi Dong and escape from all the unbearable pain. At that time, Yu Xiaozhang also could not accept the fact that his beloved wife Lu Erlong was his cousin. He was greatly stimulated and finally ran away to avoid the problems he faced. Now, because of his theory, his apprentice has lost most of his talent. How could Yu Xiaozhang be able to withstand such stimulation? Escape. This is what Yu Xiaozhang is thinking at this moment. He doesn't want to die yet, and he doesn't want his martial spirit to be destroyed. As long as he takes advantage of the surrounding smoke and dust as a cover, and his soul power is so weak, it is difficult for others to detect it without hiding it. Maybe he can slip away from Tang Hao's nose. Yu Xiaojing was walking staggeringly in the smoke. He didn't have the eyesight to see through the smoke, so he didn't know which direction he was walking in, but it was better than staying where he was and waiting to die. But in the direction where Yu Xiaojing was heading, a figure appeared in the smoke and dust. It was a man in black holding the clear sky hammer. The smoke gradually dissipated, and the vision became clear. When he saw that the person who appeared in front of him was Tang Hao, Yu Xiaojing's face was covered with bloodstains and somewhat unrecognizable. He was extremely horrified. He was about to turn around and run away in the opposite direction, but he fell to the ground because his feet were too seriously injured. And Tang Hao's figure appeared in front of him like a ghost. "Master, you lose. According to the agreement, I will destroy your martial spirit and body." A cold voice sounded. Tang Hao withdrew the clear sky hammer without giving Yu Xiaojing any chance to escape. With a push of his right palm, the soul power condensed in his palm instantly turned into a red light and entered Yu Xiaojing's body. It was the soul power aura bred by the clear sky hammer's martial spirit, and it possessed destructive energy. When red light enters Yu Xiaojing's body, it is equivalent to the destruction energy having been generated in Yu Xiaojing's body. Yu Xiaojing destroyed Tang San's talent. Tang Hao had every reason to cut Yu Xiaojing into pieces, but he didn't kill him. After all, he had been secretly protecting Tang San all these years. Tang Hao saw that Yu Xiaojing's dedication to Tang San was sincere, and he felt that this time might really be an accident. At that time, he secretly watched Tang San kill the 10,000, 5,000-year-old underground demon spider, but Tang Hao didn't come out to stop Tang San from absorbing the soul ring. So he also had a certain responsibility for this matter. As the saying goes, the death penalty can be avoided, but the living crime cannot be escaped. Tang Hao did not kill Yu Xiaojing. Instead, he injected destructive energy comparable to a 10,000-year soul ring into Yu Xiaojing's body, allowing him to experience the energy contained in a 10,000-year soul ring. How huge! If Yu Xiaojing can offset the destruction of his body by this destructive energy, then Tang Hao will no longer hold him responsible. But if Yu Xiaojing couldn't do it, then his internal organs and martial soul would meet the same fate as Tang San. Flanders and Lu Erlong finally adjusted their breath and restored their health. They were both soul saints, so their physical fitness was much stronger than that of Yu Xiaojing, and they were not greatly affected by the destructive energy. When Lu Erlong was about to help Yu Xiaojing up, he was stopped by Flanders. Seeing the light surrounding Yu Xiaojing, Flanders' first reaction was to look at Tang Hao beside him. He knew that Tang Hao had no intention of killing Yu Xiaojing. This red light was probably destructive energy formed by soul power. Could it be that Tang Hao wanted Yu Xiaojing to experience the energy impact of the 10,000-year soul ring that Tang San endured at that time? Thinking of this, Flanders' face became serious. How could Yu Xiaojing, a mere 29th level Great Soul Master, and Luo Sanpao, a malignantly mutated, useless martial soul, be able to withstand the destructive energy contained in a 10,000-year soul ring? Seeing Yu Xiaojing let out a scream and rolling on the ground in agony, Flanders tried his best and sighed helplessly, "Xiaojing, Xiaojing. Since Tang Hao has been merciful, it can only depend on your luck. Can a second-ring Great Soul Master in his early 50s be able to leapfrog and absorb a 10,000-year soul ring with the physical fitness and mental strength of an adult?" The answer will be revealed by Yu Xiaojing. At this moment, all the red light that enveloped Yu Xiaojing's body entered his body, which was equivalent to the fusion of the 10,000-year soul ring energy with the Soul Master's body. If a Soul Master wants to absorb the soul ring, he must integrate the soul ring energy into himself, thereby keeping the soul ring permanently in his body. In the same way, if Yu Xiaojing wants to be safe and sound, he must use his body and soul power to completely offset the destructive energy entering his body. Suffering from mental pressure and physical torture, Yu Xiaojing also suffered from the endless pain brought to him by the destructive energy. A huge stream of heat poured into his body, and before Yu Xiaojing could react, the heat had already burned his body like a scalding flame. Tang Hao's soul power was extremely domineering, and it was born from the clear sky hammer. It also contained the more terrifying destructive energy of the original 10,000-year soul ring. As soon as the powerful aura entered Yu Xiaojing's body, it began to attack his internal organs. Organs everywhere are being destroyed. This is enough to show that even a second-ring great soul master, even if he has the physical and mental strength of an adult, is simply impossible to absorb a 10,000-year soul ring. Under the impact of the overbearing destructive energy, Yu Xiaojing's body seemed to explode, and the severe pain made him spit out a mouthful of blood with flesh and blood. Yu Xiaojing was still lying on the ground rolling around, using his remaining mental and soul power to wake himself up so that he could resist the destructive energy churning in his body. Unfortunately, Yu Xiaojing is too weak in both mental and soul power. How can a person who only knows how to escape when encountering problems have strong willpower? Does the theory he has studied for decades show that he has perseverance and persistence? No, because he can no longer break through the soul power level bottleneck after level 29. He has no talent, but wants to achieve something, so Yu Xiaojing can only work hard in theory, which is forced to do nothing. After the QJ, Bibi Dong forced Yu Xiaojing to break up. Yu Xiaojing's attitude was as follows. She gave her body to other men. She didn't love me, but kept lying to me. And her emotions were hit, and she became decadent. The world is dark. Bibi Dong's attitude is this. The world has collapsed. She has lost her lover, lost her chastity, and the world has become dark. After breaking up with Bibi Dong, Yu Xiaojing's attitude was as follows. My lover betrayed me. I'm so sad. I quickly traveled around to relax. Maybe I can meet a beautiful girl who knows my situation and worries and can ease my anxiety. Despite the pressure, we can still have a good time together. Bibi Dong's attitude is this. How to choose. Choose Wuhuan Palace or choose to explain to your lover. Choosing to take revenge on Wuhuan Palace is equivalent to becoming an enemy of Qian Xuanji. But if you don't do this, will you let others control your life? During this period, Yu Xiaojing had many opportunities to prevent Bibi Dong from becoming evil. He was the person most likely to prevent Bibi Dong from becoming evil. However, when Bibi Dong needed him most, he did nothing and did not care about Bibi at all. Whether Dong is dead or alive, he only has himself in his eyes. Only others have failed him, and he is the one who has been entrusted and is a poor victim. Therefore, it is not his fault to think of escaping from others' troubles and seeking psychological comfort, but the fault of others. When facing Lu Erlong's feelings, Yu Xiaojing's attitude was still the same. Faced with Tang San destroying the blue-silver grass martial spirit because of his theory, Yu Xiaojing also felt that Tang San's blue-silver grass martial spirit was not good enough, rather than that there was something wrong with his theory. He was the wrong party and a poor victim, so he ran away to avoid Tang Hao's revenge. It can be seen that Yu Xiaojing is definitely not a person with strong willpower. At this moment, he is so upset that he cannot concentrate on using his soul power to resist the destructive energy that is running wantonly in his body. At this moment, many organs in Yu Xiaojing's body were worn out, and the internal organs near the dantian began to fragment. Yu Xiaojing really couldn't bear the pain caused by this destructive energy. He wanted to use his soul bone to bear the impact of the destructive energy instead of himself, but found that he had no soul bone. Helpless, Yu Xiaojing summoned Luo Sanpao's martial spirit. He could only transfer the destructive energy in his body to Luo Sanpao and let the martial spirit bear the excess energy for him. Luo Sanpao, who had escaped from the air, had just landed on the ground, and his body expanded like an inflatable ball. The next second, Yu Xiaojing's only 2 yellow soul rings appeared on Luo Sanpao. As soon as the first soul ring lit up, it suddenly exploded with a muffled sound, which scared Flender and Lu Er. Long and Zhao Wuji jumped. The first soul ring attached to Luo Sanpao exploded. This was because in order to protect his body, Yu Xiaojing could only inject destructive energy into the soul ring to share the destructive energy that could not be offset in the body. Tang Hao is very familiar with this phenomenon of soul rings exploding. His ring exploding technique only temporarily explodes the soul rings. After a period of time, the soul rings will recondensate. Yu Xiaojing's ring explosion really blew up the soul ring and lost it forever. Suddenly, the only remaining yellow soul ring on Luo Sanpao's body cracked, and there was another explosion, and the soul ring exploded into powder and flew away. Using his only 2 soul rings to share the excess destructive energy in his body, Yu Xiaojing thought he could save his martial soul and body, but he never thought that the destructive energy running wantonly in his body seemed to have not diminished at all. It seems like it is still filling every part of the body, so huge and domineering. Is this the energy contained in the 10,000-year soul ring? As of today, Yu Xiao, who has never absorbed a 10,000-year soul ring, not even a 1,000-year soul ring, finally discovered that Tang San had to endure such horrific pain when he leapfrogged to absorb a 10,000-year soul ring. It turns out that the theory in the book can be summarized easily, but if you try to practice it, you will be in danger of losing your life. While enduring the devastation of the destructive energy in his body, Yu Xiaojing cried. He knew that he was wrong, and he shouldn't have thought of everything so simply. It was his ignorance and his blind confidence that harmed Tang San. It was he, a master who could only summarize theories from books, who ruined the future of a peerless genius. Mistress, teacher, I'm sorry. As the last flash of consciousness flashed through his mind, Yu Xiaojing poured all the destructive energy in his body into his martial spirit Luo Sanpao. He was wrong. It was his ignorance that caused Tang San's blue-silver grass martial spirit to explode. Correspondingly, he should also bear such pain. Just after the 2 soul rings on Luo Sanpao exploded, Luo Sanpao himself exploded next. Boom! There was a loud explosion in the forest, followed by an extremely unpleasant yellow mist spreading in all directions. Luo Sanpao's martial spirit could not withstand the impact of the destructive energy and exploded. At the same time, all the destructive energy in Yu Xiaojing's body disappeared, saving his life, but many organs in his body were damaged. Like Tang San, he not only lost a martial spirit, but also lost a kidney. Tang San's right hand had sequelae from the explosion of blue-silver grass. Tang Hao originally wanted Yu Xiaojing to experience all the sufferings Tang San endured, but seeing that Yu Xiaojing had completely passed out, he did not intend to use it anymore. Drop Yu Xiaojing's right hand. Flanders, Yu Xiaojing has ruined Tang San's talent. If I don't kill him, it is already the greatest forgiveness. I will pick Tang San up later. But with his personality, he must die with Shrek's participate in the elite tournament with my companions. I will not stop him, but after the elite tournament is over, I will pick him up again. During the elite tournament, I hope you will not resent Tang San for this matter. After listening to Tang Hao's words, Flanders smiled helplessly. I will not bear grudge against Tang San. He was not wrong. No matter which father it was, if his son's talent was ruined, he would do this. Here's the thing. You just crippled the master's martial spirit but didn't kill him. Considering the temperament of a peerless strong man like you, this is indeed the greatest forgiveness. Speaking of this, Flanders lamented, feeling extremely self-blame in his heart. He felt that Yu Xiaojing would have a certain amount of responsibility for today's tragedy, because even if he felt there were problems with Yu Xiaojing's theory, he would nor did he point out the problem. Chapter 139. Tang San decided to practice the clear sky hammer. Yu Xiaojing was extremely confident in the soul ring leapfrog absorption theory that took him half a year to sum up, and there was the precedent of Lu Bao, the 4th soul ring in 10,000 years, which made him more confident. So he asked Tang San to develop this theory. Practitioners. Unfortunately, Tang San failed. In the process of absorbing the 4th 10,000-year spirit ring, Tang San's body not only suffered various hidden injuries due to its inability to withstand the transformation of the 10,000-year spirit ring's energy, but the blue-silver grass spirit also exploded as a result. No longer exists. In order to seek justice for his son Tang San, Tang Hao decided to let Yu Xiaojing experience the suffering that Tang San endured. As expected, after the destructive energy released by Tang Hao entered Yu Xiaojing's body, Yu Xiaojing also suffered from the same tragic situation as Tang San because he could not offset the damage caused by this energy to his body. He lost a kidney, internal organs, and so on, all suffered major or minor injuries, and at the same time lost his Luo Sanpao martial spirit. After this incident, even if Flanders and others did not bear grudge against Tang San, there would definitely be a gap between them. Tang Hao didn't plan to let Tang San stay at Shrek Academy anymore. Without the blue-silver grass martial spirit, he didn't need Yu Xiaojing to guide Tang San in his cultivation. Next, Tang Hao will teach Tang San to practice the clear sky hammer as a father, and will never let anyone hurt or frame his son again. A few days later, in Douluo continent, there is a cave like a secret room hidden behind a waterfall. Inside the cave, there is a blue-silver grass that always exudes a gentle atmosphere. Its leaves are blue-gold and look very strange. In this world, apart from Tang Hao, probably only Lu Haoli, who has read the original work, knows that this blue-silver grass is not ordinary. It has the bloodline of the blue-silver emperor and is the juvenile form of the 100,000-year-old soul beast Ayin. When this blue-silver grass with the blue-silver emperor's bloodline grows to 100,000 years of cultivation, it will get the chance to transform into a human again. On the way Tang Hao brought Tang San to the cave, Lu Hao had sent a ghost soldier to monitor Yu Xiaojing and Tang San to secretly follow Tang Hao. Unexpectedly, Tang Hao discovered the clues. The ghost soldier was overbearingly angry. The force was shattered, and Lu Haoli also lost the whereabouts of Tang Hao and his son. Next to the blue-gold, blue-silver grass that exuded a faint light, Tang San was meditating. With Ning Fengji's treatment and Tang Hao sending him to an old friend for treatment, although it was impossible to restore the lost body parts and completely eliminate the ticks in his right hand, it at least allowed Tang San to regain his vitality. Seeing his son meditating, Tang Hao, who was leaning against the stone wall, had eyes full of debt, distress, and regret. A good genius had lost half of his talent, and at only 14 years old, he was as sick as himself, suffering from an old illness. According to what the old friend said, Tang San's spirit was completely shattered by the blue-silver grass, causing his soul to be damaged and causing some mental disorder. Before Tang San awakened his martial spirit, as a father, Tang Hao failed to fulfill his father's duties. Not only did he fail to take good care of Tang San, but he also asked Tang San to take care of him. After awakening the clear sky hammer and blue-silver grass martial arts, Tang Hao finally confirmed that Tang San was his own son, a twin martial soul genius who was rare to meet in hundreds of years. The fire of revenge hidden in his heart was ignited again, and Tang San was Tang Hao's hope for revenge against Wuhuan Palace. But how could he not be angry when such a hope was suddenly destroyed? How could he not feel sorry for a genius with twin martial souls who suddenly turned into a single martial soul and disappeared into the background? How could he not feel distressed when his son suffered from an old disease? Looking back on the past, Tang Hao's extremely cold eyes shed a little tears. He was ashamed of the Haotian sect, ashamed of Ayin, and ashamed of Tang San. The so-called pitiable people must be hateful. Tang Hao believed that the suffering he encountered might be retribution for his insistence on going his own way, causing the Haotian sect to close down and persecuting the 4 single-attribute families with heavy casualties for the sake of Ayin. As the Xintian technique circulated throughout his body, Tang San's breathing and breathing became so peaceful. On the surface, he seemed to be fine, but only he, as the client, knows that many organs in the body have hidden injuries, and if the body is overworked, the hidden injuries will recur. After losing a kidney, losing the highly poisonous 8th spider soul bone, and losing the blue-silver grass spirit with certain toxins, Tang San's body's ability to detoxify and resist poison had become extremely weak. He never expected that he who was proficient in poison would it turn out to be a body that could be invaded by any poison. My right hand can no longer use Xuan Yu hand. Tang San didn't bear too much grudge against Yu Xiaojing. After all, without this Minter's theory, he would have tried to absorb the 10,000-year spirit ring by leapfrogging. However, he felt that this mentor seemed not as reliable as he thought, and it would be difficult to trust him in the future. What Tang San hated was that after this incident, his body became extremely weak, his ability to resist poisons was greatly reduced, and he would no longer be able to refine those Tang sect poisons. His right hand, which suffered from ticks, could not even forge sophisticated Tang sect hidden weapons. Fortunately, I still have Xintian Kung to protect my body. Without the blue-silver grass martial spirit, the soul power in my body is still at level 40, and I have another more powerful martial spirit. After finishing his meditation, Tang Sen opened his eyes, and what he saw was the blue-gold-blue-silver grass swaying in the wind. Every time he saw this blue-silver grass, Tang Sen always had an indescribable feeling. It seemed that this blue-silver grass wanted to express something to him, but he couldn't understand its meaning. Even if the blue-silver grass martial spirit completely disappeared, Tang San was still the son of the 100,000-year-old soul beast Ayin, possessing half of the blue-silver emperor's bloodline. Looking at the blue-gold-blue-silver grass in front of him, Tang San felt as if there was some kind of feeling in his body. What exactly is this blue-gold-blue-silver grass? Asked his father Tang Hao. Tang Hao always answered this. I will tell you when I am strong enough. Quietly staring at the blue-gold-blue-silver grass in front of him, Tang San had an idea in his mind. If he took this special blue-silver grass, would his blue-silver grass martial spirit be affected in any way? It is recorded in the Xintian treasure record of the Tang sect that no matter what kind of plant has special abilities, it can be called a treasure of heaven and earth. Blue-silver grass itself has strong vitality. Maybe this blue-gold-blue-silver grass is so special because it has grown to the level of heavenly materials and earthly treasures and already has certain medicinal effects. By eating it, your body may be able to recover from old illnesses and regain its former vitality. At this time, Tang Hao's voice sounded in the cave. After you have adjusted your breath, meditate for a while longer. Adjust the chaotic soul power in your body first. And tomorrow I will take you to the Star Do Forest to hunt soul beasts. Hearing this, Tang San stood up in surprise, walked to sit down next to his father, and asked, Dad, are you talking about getting a spirit ring for the clear sky hammer? Tang Hao looked at Tang San seriously and nodded. I originally planned to wait until your blue-silver grass martial spirit reaches the 9th ring before letting you practice the clear sky hammer. In this way, with the title Douluo with your strength, your body has been strengthened by 9 soul rings. It can completely allow you to cultivate a second martial soul. Xiao-san, how much do you know about your talent? Tang San thought for a while and said, Teacher said that I am the 3rd soul master with twin martial souls in history. If the blue-silver grass martial soul reaches the 9th ring and absorbs as many soul bones as possible, maybe we can solve the problem. The issue of cultivating twin martial souls. He said that my clear sky hammer martial soul will most likely become a super martial soul with 9 rings that are 10,000-year soul rings in the future. However, I think his words are a bit exaggerated. I believe it very much. No, this master didn't say it. Let the clear sky hammer become a super martial spirit with 9 rings that last 10,000 years. This was also my original idea. At this point, Tang Hao shook his head regretfully. It's a pity that such an accident happened. Dad, I've thought about it. This can't be entirely blamed on the teacher. I'm also at fault. It's because I'm too greedy for the 10,000-year soul ring and am eager for quick success. Tang Sen said truthfully, I want to have the power to protect Xiao Wu, and I also want to have the power to protect Xiao Wu, defeating the strength of that soul master. That's why I thought of leapfrogging and absorbing the 10,000-year soul ring. After all, that soul master can achieve the 4th 10,000-year soul ring, and I think I'm better than him, so why can't I? What did you say? Tang Hao's face suddenly changed, and he said seriously, Is there really a soul master in this world whose 4th soul ring can be absorbed for 10,000 years? Tang San nodded. Back when I was competing in a team spirit fight with the Emperor Do team at the Tiando Royal Academy, there was a spirit master on the opposite side who matched the spirit rings with yellow, purple, and black. The spirit ring developed by the teacher jumped over the level. Absorbing theories means seeing the possibilities from him. With his precedent, I have the confidence to try. Students of Tiando Royal Academy? Tang Hao remembered. All the teachers and students of Tang San and Shrek had defected to Tiando Royal Academy before, but were made things difficult by Prince Snow Star and Douluo. In the end, the students from both sides decided to have a team fight. Soul. At that time, Xiao Wu was worried that Douluo would find out her identity, so she decided not to compete, left Tiando Royal Academy alone, and took refuge in Tiando City. At that time, Tang Hao was also secretly protecting Tang San, because he was worried that Douluo might have evil plans against Xiaowu, a 100,000-year-old soul beast. So Tang Hao went to monitor and protect Xiaowu, and did not see the team match. Fighting souls, naturally no soul master with the fourth soul ring of 10,000 years was found. I don't know how he did it. However, Xiao-san, your future achievements will be countless times better than his. Your goals should be more long-term. There is no need to take risks. Tang Hao lamented. Now it's useless to say anything. If you lose the blue-silver grass martial spirit, you are destined to practice the clear sky hammer in advance. Don't you also want the fourth soul ring of 10,000 years? Today my father told you that your clear sky hammer martial spirit, not only will there be a fourth soul ring that lasts 10,000 years, but the third soul ring will also last 10,000 years. Hearing this, Tang San's inner surprise was directly revealed in his eyes. Dad, what's going on? Could it be that the clear sky hammer is powerful enough for the soul master to absorb the 10,000-year soul ring by leapfrogging the third soul ring? Tang Hao shook his head. No, you are the only clear sky hammer soul master with such a talent. Even your great-grandfather Tang Chin didn't have such a talent as you. The blue-silver grass martial soul exploded, and your 3 soul rings also disappear forever. But you still have level 40 soul power in your body. And with the blessing of the clear sky hammer's martial soul quality, you can absorb 1,000-year soul ring in your first soul ring. The first soul ring absorbs 1,000 years. Tang San thought to himself, this is not impossible, because with the experience of 1,000-year soul ring, he knew that his body could withstand the energy transformation brought by 1,000-year soul ring. My suggestion for the spirit rings of the clear sky hammer is that the first spirit ring is 2,000 years, the second spirit ring is 6,000 years, and the third spirit ring absorbs 10,000 years of spirit rings. With the first 3 spirit rings, the body will be strengthened. The fourth soul ring should be able to absorb a 30,000-year soul ring. With the energy transformation of the 4 soul rings, your soul power will also be improved accordingly. While listening to his father's words, Tang San felt extremely excited. He even felt that he was a blessing in disguise. He lost the useless martial spirit blue-silver grass and turned to the world's top weapon, the clear sky hammer. This would undoubtedly greatly enhance one's own strength. The first soul ring is 1,000 years, and the third soul ring is 10,000 years. Has such a genius ever appeared on the mainland? Tang San thought to himself. So what about Lu Liang's fourth spirit ring of 10,000 years? He was not only the third spirit ring of 10,000 years, but also the first spirit ring of 1,000 years. With such a powerful soul ring configuration, and the cultivation of the clear sky hammer, coupled with the assistance of the Tang sect's body skills and Xintian Kung, he will definitely be reborn and become an extremely powerful being. Dad, I want to practice the Haotian hammer with you, Tang San said with extremely firm eyes. You said that you should use the hammer in your left hand to protect the grass in your right hand. Now that the blue-silver grass is gone, I will never lose Haotian hammer again. Sky hammer. I want to become strong enough to protect my father, protect Xiaowu, and protect the people I love. Listening to Tang San's increasingly excited voice, Tang Hao let out a long sigh again. Tang San was puzzled. Dad, did I say something wrong? No, you are right. If you want to become stronger, you can only practice the clear sky hammer now. Tang Hao said, what I regret is that even if you practice the clear sky hammer, you can strengthen your body to a certain extent, but in your body there are hidden wounds all over his internal organs. I can no longer practice the great Sumeru hammer. Big Sumeru hammer? What is that? Tang San asked. Tang Hao shook his head and said seriously, now you are not qualified to know what the great Sumeru hammer is, nor are you qualified to practice it. After I give you the spirit ring of the clear sky hammer, I will teach you random hacking first. Use the wind hammer technique. Due to some special reasons, I can't teach you the Haotian sect's secret technique, Haotian Ninju, yet. Okay, Tang San said with a smile. Dad, there is less than a month until the Continental Advanced Soul Master Elite competition. I want to participate in the competition with Shrek's friends before I practice with you. This is the agreement between me and Shrek's friends. We made an agreement to win the Elite Championship together and make Shrek the #1 Soul Master Academy in the world. Hearing this, Tang Hao was displeased and stared at Tang San coldly. You have to go? Tang San said seriously. If I don't go, it will be a regret in my life. Looking at his son's determined eyes, Tang Hao thought to himself, Flanders was right. Tang San was extremely stubborn in private. Even his father didn't have the confidence to persuade him. How could Flanders and the others be able to persuade him? Then you go, Tang Hao said calmly. But remember, no matter what happens in the elite competition, you must listen to my arrangements. I will let you run away, and I will let you kill someone. Individuals, whether men or women, you must be ruthless. That's no problem. Tang Sin responded, as a son, I should listen to my father's words. Then if I ask you not to participate in the elite competition now, will you listen to me? Tang Hao asked. Tang San fell into silence, momentarily at a loss for words. Tang Hao said in a deep voice, Xiao San, remember, don't make your words so beautiful. If you can't do it, you have to pay the price. Yes, Dad. I know I was wrong. Looking at Tang San, Tang Hao always felt like he couldn't see through his son. Wuhuan City, Wuhuan Palace. The city belongs almost entirely to the Wuhuan Palace and is built around a hill. On this hill, there are two very eye-catching buildings. The most magnificent building halfway up the mountain is the Papal Palace. Along with the construction of the Papal Palace, there is also the most noble building. This building has a characteristic that no matter where it is, it appears together with the Papal Palace, and it is always higher than the building of the Papal Palace. This means that in the Wuhuan Palace, this building has a higher status than the Pope Palace. This is also true. There are two more noble buildings than the Pope's Palace. One is the Douluo Palace, which is known as the tomb of titled Douluo, and the other is the Enshrinement Palace, which has the highest decision-making power of the Wuhuan Palace. The Douluo Palace can only be entered after the death of a titled Douluo. Otherwise, not even the Pope has the right to set foot in such a building. Only titled Douluo who have reached level 96 are eligible to enter the Enshrinement Hall. After taking off Shui Qingyi's disguise, Qian Rinxue returned to Wuhuan City. Instead of going to the Pope's palace, she flew towards the Enshrinement Hall. Lu Baoyang told her that the whereabouts of the dark demon evil god tiger had been found. Now, she needed to go to the Enshrinement Hall to ask for orders from her grandfather Qian Douluo and send two Enshrinement Douluo to help hunt down the soul beast. Of course, such a request would most likely be rejected, so she had no choice but to give it a try and seek help from the worshippers. The moment he stepped into the entrance of the worship hall, Qian Rinxue's whereabouts had been clearly seen by the 7 worshippers in the worship hall with their spiritual power. They sat on their respective futons, uniformly dressed in golden robes, with their respective martial spirits embroidered with silver patterns on their backs. An old man with a big crocodile embroidered on his back, with white hair and a boyish face, but a burly figure and a masculine temperament, said to the blond man sitting in the middle of the hall, Brother, Xiao Xue is back. The blond man, who looked to be no more than 30 years old, was Qian Rinxue's grandfather Qian Douluo. He had long golden hair hanging down to his waist, handsome features, and a gentle temperament. He could not tell that he was a centenarian. Seeing Qian Rinxue standing motionless at the door, the old man with a big crocodile embroidered on his back was puzzled. Why is Xiao Xue standing at the door of the hall and not coming in? Brother, it won't be the last actual sparring. You hit too hard. Did it scare her? Chapter 140. Qian Douluo Qian Rinxue stood quietly at the door of the Enshrinement Hall and never walked in. She was thinking about how to speak to her grandfather. If she needed to find 2 priests to help hunt down the dark demon tiger, her grandfather would definitely ask why. Should he hide Lu Baoli's affairs from his grandfather at that time? Or should he tell the truth? Qian Rinxue understands her grandfather's style of doing things. Unless he is a talent that his grandfather likes, it is impossible for him to send a priest to help an outsider. Her grandfather believed in angels and gods, darkness, which was opposed to light, and evil, which was opposed to holiness, were the existences her grandfather hated the most. But darkness and evil, Lu Badai's shadow martial spirit has taken over both points. If Grandpa knew that he had accepted a dark soul master who was opposed to the seraphim martial spirit as his subordinate, he would definitely be furious. In serious cases, he might even threaten Lu Bad's safety. After thinking about it, Qian Rinxue really didn't know how to speak to her grandfather. At this time, A clear and faint voice came from the palace. Xiao Xue, why don't you come in? You look so sad. Could it be that something went wrong while lurking in the Tiando Palace? Looking into the hall, Qian Rinxue found a figure walking towards her. It was a tall man with handsome features and long golden hair hanging down to his waist. He seemed to be a man in his 30s or 40s, but his actual age was quite a lot, 100 years old. This man is currently the ruling elder of the Wuhuan Palace, the master of the Douluo Palace, and Qian Rinxue's grandfather. He is a level 99 ultimate Douluo, and the master of the Douluo Palace worships Qian Douluo. When the sound came from far away, Qian Douluo was still in the center of the hall with other worshippers. But when Qian Rinxue raised his head, he had already appeared at the entrance of the hall. Seeing that the person coming was her grandfather, Qian Rinxue quickly calmed down the sadness on her face and responded, "Grandpa, everything is normal in the Tiando Palace. I have completely gained the trust of Emperor Shuiyi. I believe that in less than 10 years, then I can take down the entire Tiando Empire without using any weapons or blood." Qian Douluo had a faint smile on his face, and his calm and tranquil aura gave people a very comfortable feeling. Of course, this is the gentleness he can only have as a grandfather. Don't forget, he is the ruling elder and is responsible for killing all the strongest opponents who oppose Wuhuan Palace. If Qian Douluo were regarded as an enemy, there would be almost no chance of survival. This is also the reason why Qian Rinxue doesn't know how to speak to her grandfather. If her grandfather discovers that Lu Haoli's shadow martial spirit is an extremely dark and evil existence, it will be hard to say what will happen. "My child, you have been absent-minded recently." Qian Douluo touched Qian Rinxue's head and said in a majestic and calm voice, "Since last year, every time you come back, your heart seems to be unable to calm down. This is a taboo. Tell Grandpa. What difficulties have you encountered recently?" "I'm fine," Qian Rinxue responded. "Don't you have to test my strength every year? That's why I came back. The previously agreed time was at the end of the year. Why are you so anxious to come back just after the middle of the new year?" Qian Douluo asked doubtfully. "Is it because of the situation at the Tiando Palace?" Qian Rinxue nodded. "Emperor Shuya asked me to supervise the country on his behalf in the second half of the year, and asked me to learn more from the ministers on how to govern the country. So in the second half of the year, I didn't have much time to leave the Tiando Empire, so I could only take advantage of this opportunity. After a few days of leisure, I will come back and report the results of my cultivation to you." "So that's it." Qian Douluo smiled calmly. "Well, Grandpa will test your strength in advance and see if you have improved in the past 6 months. "Grandpa, didn't you say that I lack actual combat experience?" Qian Rinxue's cold face showed a smile. "Today I will let you see my improvement in combat skills." "Child, follow me." Qian Douluo walked past Qian Rinxue and walked straight towards the open space dozens of meters away from the entrance of the hall. Qian Rinxue followed closely, with a confident smile on her face. In the past 6 months, she took the time to go to Death Canyon to discuss with Lu Haoli almost every month. Not to mention her rich practical experience, but under Lu Haoli's guidance, practical skills have improved greatly. She felt that if she wanted her grandfather to send worshippers to help hunt down the dark demon tiger, she must first let her grandfather see the value of Lu Haoli. After her grandfather became interested in Lu Haoli, she dared to truthfully tell him that Lu Haoli was a dark soul master. Qian Rinxue thought that during the actual combat training with her grandfather would definitely see her growth in actual combat skills. When her grandfather asked how her actual combat skills had improved so much, she could just take advantage of the situation and say that it was taught by Lu Haoli. Sighing secretly in her heart, Qian Rinxue didn't know why she was so concerned about Lu Haoli's affairs. She did everything herself and imagined various possible dangers for him to prevent him from being harmed. Maybe it's because Lu Haoli's value is too high, and as a subordinate, he is the only one who knows the identity of Qian Rinxue. He and Lu Haoli had known each other for 2 years, during which many interesting things happened to each other. Even if they were taking advantage of each other, the two sides had more or less developed some friendship. When he was affected by the dark and evil aura in Death Canyon, he fainted and was carried away by Lu Haoli. The past of spending the night with Lu Haoli in the small forest suddenly appeared in Qian Rinxue's mind. She had vowed never to go near a place full of darkness and evil atmosphere like Death Canyon again. But in the past 6 months, I risked being infiltrated by the dark and evil aura to go to Death Canyon to discuss with Lu Haoli almost every month. Is it really just to enhance my actual combat experience and combat skills? Xiaoxue. Qian Daolia's voice woke Qian Rinxue from her thoughts. Her eyes became firm again. Qian Rinxue walked to a position 10 meters away from Qian Douluo and stood there. Her eyes suddenly turned cold. Grandpa, I'm ready. Qian Douluo raised his index finger and said calmly, Xiaoxue, as usual, Grandpa only uses one finger. Just attack. If you can force Grandpa back one step, your strength will be greatly improved. Okay. After replying, Qian Rinxue was not sloppy at all, and directly released the Soul Ring and Seraphim Martial Spirit. 2 pairs of wings broke out from her back, and the 5th soul skill, the Sacred Sword, was activated. The golden flame condensed into the right hand to form a golden sword, and the soul power containing the sacred aura exploded in an instant. Qian Rinxue's whole body was enveloped in a layer of golden light, and she rushed directly towards her grandfather. The long sword thrust out, and golden light gathered at the tip of the sword. Qian Rinxue had already appeared in front of Qian Douluo. A bit of golden light on the sword suddenly thrust forward, just as Qian Douluo raised his index finger to touch the golden sword tip. Qian Rinxue's body twisted forcefully while thrusting out the golden sword. The sword blade that originally thrust forward drew an arc of golden light, and the attack method of thrusting forward actually changed into an upward slash. All actions were almost completed at the moment Qian Douluo raised his index finger. Being able to switch attacks in such a smooth manner proved that he had planned ahead. Qian Rinxue just converted a simple offensive, but Qian Douluo saw her growth in actual combat. In the past, Qian Rinxue just swung the sword blindly and had no rules for activating soul skills. She did not understand soul skills at all. They don't know how to hide their attack intentions. Now Qian Rinxue stabbed her hand with the sword and then instantly changed the attack pattern of the sword. This proved that she had learned to think during the battle and learned the changes in the battle. Just when Qian Rinxue's long sword struck his chin upwards, Qian Daolia's body flashed like an illusion, and the long sword could only hit an afterimage. After the afterimage disappeared, Qian Douluo had already distanced himself from Qian Rinxue and retreated 10 meters away. At the same time, he also lost because before the competition, he said that if Qian Rinxue could force him to take a step back, Qian Rinxue's strength would be greatly improved. Qian Douluo did not expect that this time, her granddaughter would actually learn to be flexible during the battle and hide the real attack under a feint. Seeing that her grandfather was forced to retreat, Qian Rinxue had no intention of stopping and continued to launch the offensive. The 2 pairs of wings behind her flapped, and her whole body turned into a golden light and struck Qian Douluo, stabbing, cutting, and slashing with her sword. Action. While Qian Douluo was dodging frequently, he was also paying attention to every attack from his granddaughter. To his surprise, his granddaughter's movements of swinging the sword were quite orderly. Unlike blind fighting, the movements of sheathing and drawing out the sword were clean and neat. In this series of Under the Attack, I can easily dodge every attack, but I can't find any loopholes in counterattack. Qian Douluo had fought against his predecessor, Sword Douluo, so he naturally knew some of the secrets of sword techniques. The granddaughter was obviously not swinging the sword based on her feelings. The sword wind struck by each sword was constantly increasing. She used the situation to assist her and used offense instead of defense. This seemed to be a set of mysterious sword techniques. Could it be that my granddaughter met a certain strong swordsman in Tiando Palace? Every time she wields the sword towards her grandfather, Qian Rinxue will think of Lu Bao's teachings. He said that any weapon that is complicated and simplified will only have 2 words in its essence. That is, offense and defense. This is like day and night. They are interchangeable. When attacking, the defense is the weakest, and the defense is naturally the time when the attack is weakest. Therefore, in battle, either attack or defend. Lu Haoli's fighting philosophy was to use offense instead of defense. His attack moves were only forward but not retreat. Every move was an attack. Each move was better than the last. If the enemy had to defend, he would not have to defend himself. In every month of the past 6 months, Qian Rinxue finally understood the essence of this fighting idea under every attack from Lu Haoli. When she wields the sword, she can always see the shadow of Lu Haoli in battle. In terms of actual combat skills, she has obtained the true inheritance of Lu Haoli, and she is no longer what she used to be. Xiaoxue. Let's end today's test. Qian Douluo pinched the tip of Qian Rinxue's stabbing sword between his fingers and said happily, "Very good. Compared with half a year ago, your soul power has not improved much. Practical combat skills have made great progress. Grandpa is very curious, as you are busy with national affairs as the Prince Shui Kingi. How do you have time to learn these swordsmanship?" Qian Rinxue took back her martial soul and soul ring and responded, "What I just used was not swordsmanship. I just learned someone's fighting style." Oh. Qian Douluo was a little interested. "Judging from your performance, that person should be an outstanding sword martial soul master. Apart from the 7-kill sword, the only one Grandpa can think of is a disciple of the Fengjian sect. He is not a sword soul master," Qian Rinxue said truthfully. "His name is Lu Bao, and his martial spirit is a shadow." Lu Bao. Qian Douluo felt strange. That name doesn't sound like a good person. Qian Rinxue felt that the opportunity had come, and with the help of her grandfather's interest, she first told Qian Douluo about Lu Baoli's shadow martial spirit, and then told Qian Douluo that there was some kind of subtle connection between Lu Baoli's shadow martial spirit and the seraphim martial spirit. Moreover, the shadow martial spirit also has exclusive domain skills. When he heard his granddaughter say that there was a subtle connection between the seraph martial spirit and the shadow martial spirit, Qian Douluo quickly thought of the possibility of fusion of martial souls. However, because the level of the shadow martial spirit was too low and the quality was too different from that of the seraph martial spirit, there was only a subtle resonance between the two martial spirits, and they could not be fused together. Qian Douluo thought that martial souls can evolve. If a soul master reaches a certain level, it is very likely that martial souls will evolve. If the shadow martial soul evolves into a top-level martial soul, it can barely hone the martial soul fusion skills of the seraphim martial soul, but the success rate is too low. After all, the shadow martial soul is only a mortal product. However, if that soul master of Lu Haoli can cultivate into a god with a mortal body, like an angel god, then the shadow martial soul can evolve into a god-level martial soul. They are both god-level and have the induction between martial souls, can perform god-level martial soul fusion skills. But if humans want to cultivate to level 100 and become gods and create their own godhood, how easy is it? Not only does it require talents far beyond ordinary people, but it also requires accumulating enough power of faith. This is an extremely long process. Thinking of this, the trace of surprise that arose in Qian Daoli's heart suddenly disappeared, and he sighed secretly. It seemed that it would be impossible to find a martial soul that could perform martial soul fusion skills with the seraphim in his lifetime. Seeing the disappointed look on Grandpa's face, Qian Rinxue smiled lightly and said, "Grandpa, what are you anxious about? He is a talent I have carefully cultivated. So how can he be only as good as this?" It was the first time Qian Douluo saw his granddaughter so happy since she carried out the lurking plan, and asked curiously, "You mean he has other extraordinary qualities?" "Yes. His 4th soul ring is 10,000 years old, and his 5th soul ring is 50,000 years old." Qian Rinxue continued to tell her grandfather about Lu Haoli's talent bit by bit. Let's start with the configuration of the soul ring that is different from ordinary people, and then extend it to the level of soul power. Finally, he casually mentioned that Lu Haoli had reached level 60 soul power and wanted to obtain the 6th soul ring to be promoted to Soul Emperor. After listening to his granddaughter's story again, Qian Douluo, who was originally a little disappointed because of the low quality of the shadow martial arts, became interested again. He knew his granddaughter's character. Since he said it, it must be true. The 4th soul ring of 10,000 years, the 5th soul ring of 50,000 years, Qian Douluo thought to himself. His 4th soul ring is 6,000 years, and it is only thanks to the protection of the angel god that he can absorb such a high-age soul ring. The 4th soul ring. The peerless Douluo Tang Chun, who is known as the most powerful talent on the mainland, cannot have a fourth soul ring of 10,000 years. It can be seen from this that this soul master named Lu Liang has a talent for cultivation that is rare in 100 years or even 1,000 years. Isn't this kind of genius the same as the angel god back then? Ever since the angel god became a god through cultivation, there has been no miracle of a human being becoming a god on the continent for who knows how many years. Is this miracle about to happen? 20-year-old Soul Emperor? Xiao Xue. You have innate soul power of level 20. If you practice carefully, it will not be difficult to break through the Soul Emperor before the age of 20. Qian Daolu said dubiously. But the Lu Baoyu you mentioned can only have innate soul power of level 10 at most, right? If he started practicing at the age of 6, how could he have raised his soul power to 50 levels in 14 years? This is his unique talent. Qian Rinxue felt that the time was ripe and said truthfully, Grandpa, I actually hid something from you. Lu Baoli's martial spirit was originally a shadow, but because of awakening the dark attribute, he became a shadow martial spirit, and his quality was promoted to the top level. Moreover, after absorbing the 5th spirit ring, his shadow martial spirit not only has dark attributes, but also evil attributes. What did you say? Even a peerless strong man like Qian Daolu, who believed in light and holiness, his face changed drastically after hearing about darkness and evil. Chapter 141 Gods of Opposites. Light and darkness. Qian Rinxue hurriedly explained. Grandpa, his martial soul has dark and evil attributes, but he himself has never done anything harmful to nature. Whether the martial soul is evil or not is determined by the soul master who uses it. Use it righteously. If used evilly, it will be evil. Therefore, you cannot decide the life or death of a dark soul master so easily. Seeing his granddaughter defending, Qian Daoli's serious face returned to its previous calmness. He touched his granddaughter's head and said with a smile, Xiao Xue. Of course, Grandpa knows this. I didn't want to kill him. I was just a little surprised. Surprise? Qian Rinxue was confused. Qian Daolu put his hands behind his back and walked towards the huge seraph statue near the entrance of the temple. Xiao Xue, come here. Qian Rinxue followed him without knowing why. The grandfather and granddaughter came to the huge seraph statue. It was a 10-meter-tall statue with a golden body. 3 pairs of wings were spread out behind it, and a huge golden sword was raised in its hand and pointed directly at the sky. The most peculiar thing is that there seems to be a layer of faint golden flames hovering around the golden sword. Looking at the sacred angel statue, Qian Daolu showed a strange smile on his face. My child, when you accept the assessment of the angel god, you will kneel down in front of this statue and perform the assessment ceremony. In the future, Grandpa hopes that you can obtain the 9 exams for angels, instead of only 8 exams like Grandpa. Only those who take the 9 exams can inherit the inheritance of the angel god. In front of this golden statue, Qian Rinxue's cold expression became much more solemn, and she said with great determination, I will do it, Grandpa. Do you know the legends about the gods? Qian Daolu said. A long time ago, the first generation of angel gods sealed countless darkness and evil on the Douluo continent. They also used the angel holy sword to seal countless darkness and evil directly in the Douluo palace, the top of the mountain. Since then, the world has been freed from darkness and given a new life. But I don't know where I am. According to the legend passed down from our ancestors, the angel god returned to the divine realm after completing his mission. At the same time, he left the inheritance of the divine position to future generations. Having said this, Qian Daolu looked at his granddaughter deeply. My child, Grandpa cannot be the inheritor, so he can only place his expectations on you. In addition to angel gods, there are many gods. Angel gods, it represents light and holiness. Its opposite is the Rakshasa god, who represents darkness and evil. Grandpa is not very clear about the legends about the God Realm, but whether it is light or darkness, gods can be born. Opposite gods check and balance each other, and it is not that one party must disappear. Light and darkness, holiness and evil, they are enemies of each other, but they also cherish each other and restrict each other, just like day and night, inseparable. Even if we represent the existence of light and justice, Don't we also kill people? There will still be dark thoughts in my heart. What Grandpa hates are those evil soul masters who go astray and violate the right path. Not all of them. So Grandpa has no intention of killing that Lu Bao. With his talent, he will definitely be of great help to you in the future. What's more, he has a dark martial soul. In the future, he will most likely become a being like you. Qian Rinxue said unexpectedly. You mean Lu Bao is also qualified to inherit the test of the gods? Qian Daolu smiled and shook his head, but did not answer. He is a peerless Douluo, but under the gods, he is just a mortal after all, so how can he glimpse the future related to gods? Although he was not sure whether the soul master, named Lu Haoli, would become the next miracle for humans to become gods, Qian Daolu felt that he would be of great use to his granddaughter in the future. To take the angel god test, you must have no distracting thoughts and abandon dark and evil thoughts. Qian Daolu thought that maybe Lu Baobai's dark martial spirit could help his granddaughter swallow all the evil thoughts in her heart, making it easier for her to complete the divine test. Xiaoxue, didn't you say that his soul power has reached level 60 and he needs a soul ring breakthrough? Qian Daolu took the initiative and said, then you have to choose a soul beast with dark attributes for him. The soul ring can, if the quality of the martial soul is improved to a certain extent, his shadow martial soul may be able to evolve. When the quality of the martial soul is similar, you should be able to develop a martial soul fusion skill. Hearing what Grandpa said, Qian Rinxue felt happy and said, Grandpa, in addition to reporting the results of his cultivation to you, am I coming back to get the 6th soul ring for him? Qian Rinxue told Lu Baolan's request in detail. After learning that Lu Haoli wanted to invite 2 consecrated Douluo above level 96 to help hunt down the dark demon evil god tiger, Qian Daolu didn't find it strange. He was even surprised. He didn't expect anyone on the mainland to know this kind of extreme darkness. With evil spirit beasts, Grandpa, do you know the dark demon evil god tiger? Qian Rinxue was curious. Qian Daolu nodded and said, according to legend, the dark demon evil god tiger is the power of the evil god that descended on a white tiger, causing it to mutate, turning the white tiger's original light attributes into dark attributes. It is not really dark. It is the extremely evil attribute left by the evil god. If you want to hunt down the 60,000-year-old dark demon evil god tiger, you really need at least 2 strong men above level 96. This soul beast is so powerful. So how can the soul ring it produces be so easy to absorb? Qian Rinxue thought Lu Haoli was talking nonsense at first, but after listening to her grandfather's words, she realized that what Lu Haoli said was true. Dark demon evil god tiger. How powerful is this existence? Even if there are 200,000-year soul beasts, it may not be necessary to dispatch 2 titled Douluo of level 96 or above. Son, in a few days, you can bring the soul master named Lu Haoli here, Qian Daolu said. Grandpa wants to personally verify whether he is as outstanding as you said. Qian Rinxue was a little surprised. Are you willing to see him? Qian Daolu smiled slightly. Grandpa wants to see what kind of person he is that can make my Shuer go to great lengths to ask Grandpa for help. Qian Rinxue immediately understood the meaning of the words, and Xiaofei explained in a panic. Grandpa, what are you thinking about? He is just a dispensable chess piece of mine. I helped him because I wanted to improve I just want him to be of value to me in the future. If he had no value, I would have abandoned him long ago. As for being exposed to his poisonous tongue all day long. After hearing this, Qian Daoli's expression changed drastically, and a murderous intent flashed through his kind eyes. What did you say? What did he do to you with his tongue? I mean, he has a bad mouth. Every time I can't speak well of him. Qian Rinxue said bitterly. This time I agreed to find Uncle Feng for help because I couldn't stand his harsh tone. That's why I admitted defeat. After hearing this explanation, the murderous intent in Qian Daolu's eyes disappeared, and he told Qian Rinxue, go back and let him come to me in person. Otherwise, the enshrinement hall will not help with the task of hunting down the dark demon evil god tiger. A few days later, Wuhan City is Highness Douluo. Enshrinement Hall. The road leading to the Enshrinement Hall is a 999-step staircase made of flowing jade. Each step is 1 foot high and 1 foot long. The flowing jade may be made of special forging materials. No matter day or night, The steps are it always maintains its original color and will not lose its luster due to environmental changes. Standing on the first level of the steps, looking at the 999 steps leading to the sky from a distance, Lu Haoli could only sigh in his heart. Damn it. Is this the legendary road to heaven? The next moment, Lu Haoli felt disdain in his heart. How could a mere 2,000-meter hill be as high as Mount Everest? Although he returned without success, after all, he had climbed Mount Everest on Douluo Star. So why should he be afraid of this 1,000-meter hill? Qian Rinxue walked to the fifth step and saw Lu Haoli still in a daze. She smiled coldly and said, Lu Haoli, what are you afraid of? Didn't you do some resistance and mountain climbing training at Tiando Royal Academy before? This is just a little distance. Can it be a problem for you? I don't understand why we can't use flying, even using soul skills to catch up. Lu Haoli was curious. You can use soul skills, but my grandfather said that if you want him to send worshippers to help you hunt the soul beasts, you must walk to the entrance of the worship hall as he asks. Otherwise, he will not help you. Don't nonsense, I could have flown up, but it's all because of you, so I have to suffer too. As she spoke, Qian Rinxue raised her feet and continued walking up the steps. Lu Yang lamented, and when he thought that the person he was going to meet was one of the 3 peerless Douluo today, he couldn't help but feel a chill in his heart. With his current strength, he could risk his life to kill a strong soul saint in the true form of martial soul. He has not yet become a titled Douluo, but he is about to meet a level 99 titled Douluo. Naturally, he feels inexplicable pressure in his heart. What's more, his shadow martial soul has dark and evil attributes. Although there is no concept of evil soul master in Douluo world, wasn't it the Dark Soul Master that Qian Douluo killed? Chapter 142 Douluo Palace. When he heard Qian Rinxue said that he wanted to meet Qian Douluo, Lu Haoli's first reaction was of course to refuse. However, without meeting him, he would not be able to get the Douluo from the enshrinement hall to help hunt down the dark demon Evil God Tiger. This makes it difficult to make a decision. Douluo is now his only confirmed supporter, but he can defeat Tang Hao, who is suffering from all kinds of diseases, simply because Tang Hao is now a sick cat. The dark demon Evil God Tiger is not a sick cat. Letting Douluo fight the dark demon Evil God Tiger will undoubtedly send his lover's grandfather into the tiger's mouth. This is too immoral. You must know that soul beasts like the dark demon Evil God Tiger improve their cultivation by devouring other life forms, rather than cultivating themselves. In other words, Douluo is simply the most delicious food for the dark demon Evil God Tiger, and its cultivation is greatly enhanced by eating it. Rise! After much deliberation, there was nothing he could do, so Lu Haoli decided to follow Qian Rinxue to meet Qian Douluo. Just make peace with what you have come, put aside all worries, and Lu Haoli stepped onto the second step. Suddenly, an extremely arrogant force acted on the 990% steps. Being trapped in it, Lu Haoli felt that his body had become 10 times heavier. This was different from teacher Shigao's resistance plus climbing training. The resistance came from the front, but this time the gravity fell from the sky, giving people a feeling of being pressed down by Mount Tai. No matter how strong Lu Haoli's body was, he still inadvertently half-knelt on the stone steps when he was suddenly suppressed by this gravity. However, Qian Rinxue, who was walking in front, was not affected by gravity. Not gravity. Lu Haoli figured it out. It was the coercion formed by his mental power that was locked on him. This feeling was like the pressure exerted on Tang San by the Jilin Education Committee in the original novel. Although he didn't know who released this pressure, Lu Haoli knew that someone wanted to test his physical strength. Secretly activating his soul power, Lu Haoli found that his soul power could withstand this pressure. It seemed that the person who exerted pressure deliberately lowered the difficulty. Standing up with difficulty, the extreme ice and fire energy in his body turned into black energy and wrapped around his body. With the protection of his soul power, Lu Haoli felt much more relaxed and stepped onto the third level, then the fourth and fifth level. Enshrined in the temple, the 7 great ministers were using their mental power to clearly see Lu Haoli's every move. The one who put pressure on Lu Haoli was a demon-conquering Douluo with a coiled dragon stick embroidered on his back. Golden Crocodile Douluo saw that Lu Bao could easily walk up the steps under such heavy mental pressure. He couldn't help but glare at demon-conquering Douluo and asked, "Old Key, can you be more serious?" "Second brother, this kid has something," demon-conquering Douluo said. "I have controlled the mental pressure within the range that a Soul Emperor can bear, but his mental power and physical strength seem to be stronger than those of ordinary Soul Emperors. The Emperor is much higher. Then increase it to the level that Soul Saint can bear. Don't let an outsider set foot in the worship hall so easily," Golden Crocodile Douluo said seriously. "Otherwise, we old guys will be looked down upon by a junior." "Yes." After replying, the mental power locked on Lu Bao's body suddenly doubled. Just as he was about to step onto the 50th step, Lu Bao felt the pressure increase again, as if there was a huge, invisible iron rod pressing down on his back, and he was carrying a huge mountain forward. The soul power circulated throughout his body, strengthening his body with the auras of the strange velvet, celestial chrysanthemum, and the ice and fire fairy grass. Lu Bao released the attached soul bone. Black and gold lines appeared on the face, outlining the face shape, and finally condensed into a black mask. Half a year ago, after refining the Shadow Lord's original black bead, the fifth soul ring became the Shadow Lord's original soul ring, which can increase its lifespan as the Soul Master grows. Now the fifth spirit ring has been upgraded from 50,000 years to 60,000 years, and the Shadow Mask Bone has also become 60,000 years old. With the blessing of the attached Soul Bone and Shadow Mask Bone, Lu Bao's mental power and physical strength will be improved. With the protection of the aura of the three fairy grasses, he finally withstood the increasing pressure again. Straighten your curved waist and continue walking up the steps. Demon-conquering Douluo was very puzzled. Eldest brother said that he is a 60-level Soul Emperor, but he only has 5 soul rings. It stands to reason that the mental pressure at this moment is enough to defeat him, but he still faced more move forward under strong pressure. Does this kid really only have 5 soul rings? Zhang Mo, it seems that you have been in the worship hall for too long and are unfamiliar. Can't you subdue a young boy? It was San Worship who spoke. Demon-conquering Douluo didn't reply. If he really wanted to kill him, he could directly use mental pressure to crush the Soul Emperor with only 5 soul rings into a pulp. But Qian Daoli only let him test it, not really take action. As the pressure he released became stronger and stronger, demon-conquering Douluo's surprise became stronger and stronger. Is this black-haired young man really a Soul Emperor with only 5 rings? Under this mental pressure, even a powerful Soul Saint would have to release his martial soul and soul ring to resist it. Seeing this scene with his mental power, Qian Daolu had a plan in mind. He wanted to test whether Lu Bao's mental power and physical strength could withstand the soul ring of the dark demon Evil God Tiger. It seemed like what his granddaughter said. Lu Bao, the level of excellence of bad people, has far exceeded imagination. Suddenly, Lu Badai once again felt extremely terrifying mental pressure on his body. Compared with the last time, it was obviously a level higher. It seemed that the person who exerted the pressure had increased his level. This time, the mental pressure was probably caused by the soul. Only Douluo can bear it. While suddenly kneeling on the stone steps, a huge shadow spirit appeared like an illusion, and the surrounding environment was instantly rendered black by darkness and evil aura. The martial soul was forced out, and Lu Bao's body had reached its endurance limit. In other words, under normal circumstances, he could only withstand the mental pressure exerted by a soul saint at most. With the protection of the martial spirit aura, Lu Bao regained his previous ease. He stood up and continued walking upwards. Soul rings one after another slowly emerged from his feet, strengthening his own resistance and acting more relaxed than before. When he reached the 200th floor, Lu Haoli felt that all his attributes had been strengthened. He did not use soul skills, but the soul bone shadow mask attached to the outside increased all his attributes. Under the mental suppression of demon-conquering just now, the shadow mask bones had completely merged with Lu Bao's body and were no longer separated from each other. All attributes are enhanced by 100%. This is the amplification effect obtained after the shadow mask bone is completely integrated with the body. In the future, as Lu Haoli grows, this amplification effect will also increase. The enhancement of all attributes naturally also includes the improvement of one's own soul power, mental power, and physical strength. With the aura of the shadow spirit guarding him, and the 5 spirit rings that appeared one after another, Lu Haoli became even more relaxed. The mental pressure that had made him kneel just now could no longer have any impact on him. Lu Haoli would not give others a chance to increase their mental pressure and ran directly up the stone steps. Seeing this scene, the 7 worshippers in the worship hall were secretly surprised. It turned out that it was not the demon-conquering Douluo who deliberately let loose, but the young man named Lu Haoli who had unimaginable physical strength and mental power. When did such a genius appear on the mainland? This is the question that arises in the hearts of the 7 great worshippers at the same time. Just when demon-conquering Douluo was trying to increase his mental suppression, Golden Crocodile Douluo stopped him. Okay, old 7, there's no need to try. The young man named Lu Haoli has such a talent, which proves his future achievements. He must be above the 95th level title Douluo, so let him do it. Just treat it as granting him the title qualification in advance. Follow your orders. After replying, demon-conquering Douluo released the mental suppression locked on Lu Haoli's body. At the same time, Lu Haoli, who was running up the steps, felt light all over, and there was no longer any pressure affecting his actions. The martial soul and soul ring were withdrawn into the body, and the shadow mask bones turned into light and disappeared, passing directly by Qian Rinxue and running quickly towards the top of the mountain leading to the steps. Seeing that Lu Haoli became so relaxed, Qian Rinxue's heart finally relaxed. The worshippers no longer obstructed him, which meant that they had recognized Lu Haoli's talent. When they arrived at the worship hall, they no longer had to worry about Lu Haoli. What mishaps will happen? When he stepped on the 888th step, Lu Haoli felt like a pilgrim, as if the darkness and evil thoughts deep in his heart had been purified. When he reached the 988th step, he was already very close to the enshrinement hall. My heart felt extremely peaceful and harmonious, as if my soul had been completely purified. The destination has finally arrived. Stepping onto the last step, Lu Haoli saw 2 buildings in front of him, one of which was the Douluo Hall, and the other was the enshrinement hall attached to the Douluo Hall. This is the supreme palace of soul masters. Under normal circumstances, only those who have reached the title of Douluo can climb the 999 steps to the Douluo Hall and then obtain their own title under the auspices of the 7 major worshippers. Lu Haoli was not yet a titled Douluo, but he had experienced the 999 steps in advance, so he was naturally a little excited. It is said that the 7 major offerings exist to enshrine Douluo Hall. Is that the Douluo Palace? Lu Haoli looked at the magnificent building in front of him and thought that under the golden plaques of hundreds of titled Douluo around the Douluo Hall, there should be hundreds of corpses of titled Douluo. Once they have the strength to show off, they will seal the shadows of these titled Douluo corpses in the Shadow Tomb realm. Looking across the front, Lu Haoli noticed that a golden figure had been standing dozens of meters in front of him for some time. It was a man with the same long blonde hair and divine aura as Qian Rinxue. He looked to be only in his 30s or 40s. Looking into the eyes of this strong blonde man, Lu Haoli seemed to be frozen in his body. Just by the contact between their eyes, his soul power and movement were directly blocked. Obviously, this is suppression due to the gap in soul power. Different from the previous feeling when his soul power was blocked by Douluo or Snake Spear Douluo. Lu Haoli could still resist in front of ordinary titled Douluo, but under the gaze of this strong blonde man, he felt as if he was looking up at the mountains. He is Sendalia. Chapter 143 Ring Burning Technique. 5 rings burned together. The original book said that Qian Douluo is the ruling elder of Wuhuan Palace and the guardian of the God of Angels. He is known as the Invincible in the Sky and will be sacrificed to Qian Rinxue in the future. Qian Douluo and Tang Chun, another peerless Douluo, are known as the 2 mountains in the Land Soul Master world, which means insurmountable mountains. When they saw each other today, Lu Haoli finally realized what the difference in strength was. When he saw Qian Douluo appearing in front of him, he felt like he was looking up at the mountains, as if he was a grain of dust in the desert, so insignificant. He didn't mean to kill me. Lu Haoli found that Daolia's eyes were cold, but there was no murderous intent on his body. He didn't know if it was the sacred aura that hid his murderous intent or something. Daolia's strength is definitely the best, but he gives people a gentle and solemn feeling, unlike Douluo and Snakespear Douluo who are full of ferocity. I didn't expect there to be a soul master with such huge dark energy, like you on the mainland. A majestic and calm voice echoed outside the Douluo Hall. Lu Haoli didn't move or speak. He still stood there quietly, staring blankly at Douluo. The sound just now was made by Douluo. It was actually a sound that directly struck the soul, not incoming from the ears. Golden light surged, and Daolia's figure appeared in front of Lu Haoli at some point. The figure gradually became clearer, and the surrounding golden light became obviously stronger, filling the area with an indescribable sacred aura. Impacted by the sudden golden aura, Lu Haoli took a few steps back to stabilize his body. At this time, his eyes had turned into strange pupils filled with black energy, and 5 soul rings under his feet spread out one after another, completing the possession of the shadow martial spirit. Looking at the configuration of 2 yellow, 1 purple, and 2 black soul rings on Lu Haoli's body, Daolia's eyes flashed with a strange light. If this 4th soul ring of 10,000 years was not obtained by taking the divine test to increase the age of the soul ring, then it was obtained by tyranny. The body's strength is absorbed by leaps and bounds. No matter what kind of guess he made, Douluo was extremely certain that Lu Haoli would be of great use to his granddaughter in the future, either by helping her become a god or by helping her regain the throne of the Pope from Bibi Dong. Douluo took the initiative and said, "You want to hunt the dark demon, evil god tiger, but do you know how powerful it is?" Lu Haoli looked directly into Daolia's chilly eyes and nodded with difficulty. "I know. It is a super soul beast with the blood of the evil god. It has extreme darkness and evil attributes. I think it is suitable to be my soul ring. Sir, for the sake of this junior risking his own life to come here, please help me." "I can help you," Douluo said calmly. "However, you must let me see your ability. Xiaoxue said that you taught her all her practical skills. From this point of view, it is not just your soul that is outstanding. The ring configuration and strength should be outstanding, right?" After the shadow mask bone was completely integrated with his body, Lu Haoli found that his mental power had become stronger than before, as if this external soul bone also strengthened his mental power with the head soul bone. Faced with Daolia's aura suppression, the panic in his heart calmed down quickly. In a few words, Lu Haoli was no longer so afraid of Douluo. The panicked heart gradually returned to calm. Lu Haoli secretly breathed a sigh of relief and said with a smile, "To be honest with you, apart from Wuhan City, this junior has maintained a winning streak of more than 40 games in the big soul fighting arenas in major cities. Record. He is the creator of nearly all the highest winning streak records in all major spirit fighting arenas. You want to say that you have never lost in the great soul fighting arena?" Daolia's face became a little more serious. He had never lost in his life, until he met another peerless Douluo Tang Chun, and he ushered in his first victory. A failure. Yes. Lu Haoli nodded slightly. He had lived in Douluo continent for 2.5 years. He knew that the strong men in the continent liked young people with courage, and strength. Compared with the fear of death, he faced it with an attitude of treating death as if it were home. Oppression imposed by the strong is the most correct approach. "Child, come with me. You have made me have great expectations for you. I hope that the fight later will not disappoint me." As he said this, Daolia's figure disappeared in front of Lu Haoli, and golden light surged. In the meantime, he had appeared in the open space outside the entrance of the hall. Lu Haoli turned into a shadow and flew to Daolia's position in an instant. He stood face to face with him, keeping a distance of tens of meters from each other. Their eyes met, and the evil and sacred auras on both sides jumped to the test, seeming to want to swallow each other's breath. Douluo raised his index finger and said calmly, "I don't use martial arts or soul power. I only use one finger. Just attack me." If you can force me to use both hands, I will promise to send someone to help you hunt down the dark demon. Evil God Tiger. Hearing this, Lu Bu was very happy and cupped his hands and said, "How offended this junior is." As the voice fell and his soul power circulated, Lu Baohai injected all the soul power containing the ultimate fire energy into the 5 soul rings. Since Qian Daolu wanted to test, he would fight with all his strength. Suddenly, affected by the huge amount of ultimate fire energy, the surrounding temperature increased sharply and gradually rose. The twisted and swaying air was mixed with hot air currents as hot as magma, forming wisps of black air that slowly floated into the sky. The high-temperature black air continued to gather, igniting the air and turning into black will-o'-the-wisps surrounding Lu Bao's back. It was a black will-o'-the-wisp wrapped in light blue, only the size of a fist. It looked like an explosive energy body, hiding a mystery. As the soul power with ultimate fire energy was continuously transferred into the 5 soul rings, a strange scene appeared. Lu Bao's 5 soul rings ignited black flames at the same time. The ultimate fire burned on the soul ring, releasing an incomparably huge amount of light and heat energy. Affected by the increasingly violent energy, the countless will-o'-the-wisps surrounding Lu Baoli began to absorb the surrounding light and heat energy, and were instantly transformed by the fist. The size expanded to the size of a human head, and then continued to expand and become larger. The 5 soul rings burning with black flames were spinning crazily at Lu Bao's feet, and with each rotation, amazing energy ripples would burst out and spread outward. Suddenly, the will-o'-the-wisps surrounding him flew toward Lu Bao one after another, entering his body through his skin. The will-o'-the-wisps were destructive fires condensed with extreme fire energy and contained enough power to burn everything. Until all the surrounding will-o'-the-wisps entered Lu Bai's body, the 5 soul rings exploding and spinning under his feet reached the melting point at the same time. The 5 rings burned together, and the high temperature of the surrounding air dropped instantly, causing dense water vapor to be generated. When the 5 rings exploded, the muffled sound of the boom shook the entire worship hall, and the destructive energy, condensed by the ultimate fire, turned into a heat wave and swept everywhere. Bearing the impact of the heat wave, Qian Daolu felt only lava splashing on his face. The burning pain was absolutely unbearable for ordinary people, but as a 99th level title Douluo, even if he didn't use his martial soul and soul power, his physical strength under normal conditions is enough to withstand the devastation of magma. The hazy water vapor dissipated, and Qian Daolu couldn't help but slightly dilate his eyes as he looked at Lu Bao's figure that gradually became clearer. He found that all 5 spinning soul rings on Lu Baolio's body had disappeared and were replaced by 5 black, arrogant flames. Ring explosion? Qian Daolu was secretly shocked. Isn't this technique for exploding soul rings the same as the big Sumera hammer that Tangchen used back then? Is there any relationship between Lu Hao and Haotian's sect? No, not a ring explosion. Qian Daolu discovered that after the ring was exploded, there would be no soul rings on his body for a while, and the 5 black flames hovering like soul rings on Lu Bao's body should be the soul rings themselves. His soul rings were not exploded. Could it be that it was another soul ring? A ring exploding technique? Burning all 5 rings together was the ultimate ring blasting method that Lu Bao could withstand after he became proficient in ring burning for half a year. Different from the Haotian sect's ring exploding state, in the ring burning state, not only can all the soul ring energy be integrated into oneself to gain far greater strength than the original, but it can also maintain the use of the soul ring skills. Moreover, the soul ring skills combine the ultimate fire and dark evil attributes to mutate, producing even more outstanding soul skill effects. This mutation effect is equivalent to the awakening of a skill. In other words, in the state where all 5 rings are burning together, Lu Bao's 5 soul skills all have awakening skills. The first soul skill is shadow locking. Its original effect is to lock shadows within a certain range and communicate through the shadows. After awakening under the influence of the burning ring, the first soul skill shadow locking became the first soul ring awakening skill in the film and television industry. In the film and television industry, It is like gaining the shadow owner's perspective from God. After locking the shadow, you can not only see what the shadow owner is doing, but also spy on the shadow owner's psychological activities. The soul skills of the other 4 soul rings have also become awakening skills, and the effects of the soul skills have been greatly enhanced. The time to maintain the burning ring state depends on the quality of the soul rings. Judging from the energy contained in the 5 soul rings, Lu Bao can maintain the burning of all 5 rings for at least 10 minutes. 10 minutes later, all 5 soul rings will turn into 1-year white soul rings. It will take a certain amount of time to absorb light and heat energy before the soul rings will return to their original age and color. The biggest difference between ring burning and ring explosion is that ring burning will not cause any negative effects on the body, because the soul ring is burned through light and heat energy, and all negative effects will be borne by the soul ring, as long as there is enough light and heat energy. Once the soul ring is restored, there is no need to worry about the soul ring being damaged. Except that after use, the power of all soul ring skills will temporarily become 10-year soul skills. There will be no other side effects. Burning ring. This is an almost perfect desperate skill. Seeing the energy in Lu Baoyang's body surge sharply, Qian Douluo smiled lightly, which reminded him of the battle with Tang Chen back then. At this time, a dark black light instantly enveloped the area 100 meters in radius, and the surrounding environment became a bit darker. Wrapped in the black light, the smile on Qian Daolia's face suddenly disappeared. The uncomfortable feeling that made him whole body was caused by the domain. This child's shadow martial spirit actually has a talent domain? Chapter 144 5 Black Shadow Core. The Shadow Tomb Realm expands. Lu Baolei raised his hand and waved, and the first black flame coiled around his body gathered in his body, and the first soul ring awakening skill, film and television world, was activated. Because there is a huge gap in strength, Qian Douluo resists his own shadow being controlled by others. So Lu Baoyang cannot lock Qian Daolia's shadow. In the film and television industry, he uses is naturally unable to pry into Qian Daolia's inner thoughts. However, the film and television industry can be linked with the Shadow Tomb Realm to form a surveillance system with no blind spots. Anyone who is within the coverage of the realm will see every extremely small movement made by Lu Bao, with all-round surveillance providing him with the real-time dynamics of the enemy. The enemy will have no way to hide. Lu Bao can also predict the enemy's next move in advance, which is more conducive to controlling the battle situation or launching surprise attacks. The soul-eating ring, pink ring, and death ring worn on his left hand flashed with light one after another. Lu Baohai summoned the darkness in his heart, and at the same time summoned the shadow, devouring group, the poison shadow group, the sickle shadow group, the ghost shadow group, and the claw shadow group. 5 burly black monsters with dragon heads and bodies jumped out of the air, raised their huge claws, and rushed towards Qian Daolia's position. At the same time, countless ghost soldiers emerged from the ground at this moment, using black energy to condense swords, hammers and halberds, and various weapons. The poisonous shadow group and the shadow-eating group merged to form a giant poisonous group, which spewed out a large amount of black poisonous mist in the 4 directions of Qian Daolia, east, west, north, and south, adding a layer of black to the already dark shadow tomb area. The black humanoid spider monster that fell from the sky was the Scythe shadow group summoned by the Death Spider as the Black Shadow General. There were nearly 30 shadow scythe soldiers dancing huge black death scythes. A total of 5 black shadow corps rushed towards Qian Daoliu like a tide of beasts. This scene made even the 6 worshippers in the temple watch the show with their spiritual power tremble in their hearts. What on earth are these giant monsters that are all pitch black and have scarlet rays of light in their eyes, resembling both humans and beasts? Groups of Black Shadow Corps came out, looking like a subhuman army. The Black Shadow Corps, which was based on the 10,000-year soul beast, not only had unlimited physical strength, independent action awareness, and powerful strength, it also has human-like thinking abilities. The aura generated by such a group of humanoid monsters charging forward is extremely huge, giving people a sense of intimidation from the invasion of alien beasts and the overwhelming army, which is unsettling and terrifying. Seeing countless giant humanoid monsters swarming in, Qian Daoliu's first thought was the beast tide. The normal beast-shaped legion, Qian Daoliu, can still be dealt with as an ordinary beast tide, but these humanoid monster legions in front of them are different. They seem to have the same intelligence as humans, and their ferocious faces reveal their insidiousness and evil. The various weapons in hand also mean that they have unknown abilities and attack methods. The feeling of uneasiness is getting stronger and stronger. Even Qian Daoliu can't help but frown and treat it sternly when facing unknown things. He felt that he had underestimated Lu Haoli, and he didn't expect that there was such a soul skill on the mainland that could summon monsters to fight. If you want to fight against this surging group of humanoid monsters, how can you do it with just one finger? While thinking about it, Qian Daoliu was already moving to dodge the giant black claw of a clawed shadow soldier. Just using his index finger to resist the giant claw attack of the claw shadow soldier, Qian Daoliu obviously had some difficulty. You must know that the claw shadow soldier is a shadow army based on the Shadow Lord, and a pair of claws has amazing destructive power. Qian Daoliu didn't use his soul power. He used his body to block the full blow of a 30,000-year-old soul beast. How could it not be difficult? He originally thought that Lu Haoli was only a little stronger than his granddaughter at most, but after seeing the technique that was like exploding a ring, Qian Daoliu knew that he was wrong. The strength and weird soul skills that Lu Haoli possessed were what he had expected. Less than. The claw of the other claw shadow soldier struck Qian Daoliu hard on the back of the head. Qian Daoliu turned around, thrust out his index finger with his free hand, and touched the giant claw again. The index fingers of both hands resisted the claws of the two claw shadow soldiers at the same time. Qian Daoliu was left with only 2 feet to use, but the other 3 claw shadow soldiers came in full force, plus more than 30 sickle shadow soldiers and countless the ghost soldiers. Without the use of soul power, Qian Daoliu would eventually fall into a situation where he could not defeat many opponents with one punch. Just as countless sickle shadow soldiers waved their giant scythes, exuding the aura of death towards Qian Daoliu, the second black arrogance on Lu Haoli's body gathered in his body, and the second soul ring awakening skill, Shadow Man, was activated. The second soul skill, Shadow Attack, allows others to gain the ability to escape into the shadow, freely shuttle in the shadow area, ignore physical attacks, and increase the speed and attack attributes by 50%. In the Burning Ring state, after the second soul skill, Shadow Attack, is awakened into the second soul skill, Shadow Man, the assisted object will completely transform into a human being formed by shadow, and will be immune to physical attacks and 50% immunity. Energy Attack, obtain a domineering state, ignore any terrain obstruction, and increase the attack and speed attributes by 100%. The second soul ring awakening skill, Shadow Man. The effect was not on Lu Haoli, but on the several sickle shadow soldiers who were fighting Qian Daoliu, greatly improving their own strength and flexibility. Seeing the shadow soldiers who had completely turned into shadow men besieging Qian Daoliu, Lu Haoli was also observing Qian Daoliu's every move using the film and television world. Once all Qian Daoliu's habitual movements were engraved in his mind, he can predict Qian Daoliu's next move, thus achieving an effect similar to predicting the future. Being attacked by claw shadow soldiers, ghost shadow soldiers, and sickle shadow soldiers one after another, Qian Daoliu could no longer defend with one finger. While dodging frequently, he used a little bit of soul power to strengthen himself, and use both hands and fight with both feet. The surveillance effect of the film and television industry allowed Lu Haoli to clearly see that Qian Daoliu secretly mobilized his soul power to fight. So he reminded him, "Master, didn't you agree to use only one finger? Why did you still use your soul power? I can't beat you if you do this." As soon as the voice fell, Qian Rinshua walked up from the 999th floor. Looking at the darkness around her, her grandfather was being attacked by a large group of humanoid monsters, and she couldn't help but feel doubts in her heart. After a moment, she remembered that her grandfather wanted to test Lu Haoli's strength, so the two were fighting. With the sporadic strengthening of soul power, Qian Daoliu's index finger turned golden and pierced the heart of a claw shadow soldier. Under the fierce attack, the claw shadow soldier instantly exploded into powder. At the same time, other claw shadow soldiers swarmed up, but they were all beaten to pieces by Qian Daoliu and were easily defeated. Watching the claw shadow soldiers disappear one after another, Lu Haoli sighed in his heart. The most important thing in this world is indeed soul power. Without the use of soul power, even if he is as strong as Qian Douluo, he will most likely be defeated in the midst of thousands of troops. But even with a little bit of soul power to strengthen his body, he can kill an army of tens of thousands. In this competition, Qian Douluo was the first to say that if he could be forced to use his hands, then Lu Haoli would win. At this moment, he not only used his hands and feet, but also mobilized the little soul power in his body to fight, which was against the rules. Therefore, Lu Haoli felt that he had won. Qian Douluo did not seem to be a person who broke his promise. After the competition was over, he should agree to send someone to help hunt the dark demon evil god tiger. It is estimated that Qian Douluo has been suffocating because he has been staying in the enshrinement hall for too long. Now that he can finally move his body, how could he let this trial end so easily? Lu Haoli didn't intend to end this sparring match. With Qian Douluo, a peerless strong man, as his sparring partner, he could use all his moves and scrupulously. Let's see if his current strength can force Qian Douluo to use more soul power to fight. Just after Qian Douluo smashed all 5 claw shadow soldiers, his golden fingers continued to thrust, directly piercing the heart of a ghost shadow soldier. But this ghost soldier was not dispersed. Instead, the darkness, ice and fire energy compressed to the extreme in his body was suddenly released. The energy expanded in an instant and squeezed its body, causing a big explosion. Boom! After being bombarded by the ghost soldiers, Qian Douluo flew out backwards. This strange masked man in black turned out to be an energy body containing huge explosive power. Lu Haoli activated the shadow explosion technique, and countless ghost shadow soldiers escaped from the air and flew towards Qian Douluo. They can all explode and are powerful enough to kill a soul saint who has not activated his martial spirit. The shadow explosion technique was a trick Lu Haoli suddenly thought of when he saw Tang San's blue-silver grass martial spirit explode. The ghost shadow soldiers with autonomous action consciousness were like advanced self-destruction soldiers. When they didn't hit 1,000 when Qian Douluo dodges, they will not explode, but turn into shadows and pounce again in the direction where Qian Douluo dodges. Suddenly, a ghost shadow soldier who blocked the detection of breath and mental power took advantage of the dark environment in the shadow tomb area to take cover, quietly emerged from Qian Douluo's feet, and hugged his feet steadily.
No more novels? Take part in the voting. The most requested novels and those with the most likes will be chosen for publication on audiobooks.com. There, I can upload as much as I want without the risk of receiving a strike. Our 18 novels and other content that exceed what is morally acceptable are only published on Patreon or the free novels page. Remember, the site is funded by donations on Ko-fi and Patreon memberships.